Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to a very, very chilly December-like night in West Texas. We're in the key city of Abilene. Mary Sykes with Rick Wood, and our analyst, and Keith Rank with our statistician. And Rick, not exactly the kind of night that when you looked on the calendar you expected in late October.
Well, it's not the kind of night anybody wants to have at any time that you got to be outside. Just think of those poor guys down on this frozen field, as you can see there. That white, folks, is not light. That is snow.
In fact, we have scattered flurries that stopped about a half an hour ago. Officially, the temperature 33 degrees. The wind is very strong and coming out of the north. You can't see a shot of the flag, but it is really a stiff breeze coming from the north tonight. Wind chill about a +9, about 15 to 20 minutes before kickoff. The Panthers will receive the opening kickoff. They will be moving into this very stiff breeze, and Cooper will have the wind at their back. Let's look at the Permian offense. That's what will take the field tonight for the Panthers. Led, as always, by quarterback Nick Keaton, number 25. Had a great year so far this year. Certainly hoping for a good night tonight. Williams, the main man in the backfield with Pinkstaff. He'll lead the way blocking, hopefully a few carries. The position players, wide receivers, Bass and Keltron. Montgomery, Bass expected to have a good night because the defensive secondary of Abilene can be exploited. Here's the offensive line, Burmis, and counts the tackles, Kane and Jensen. The guards, Chance at the center position, and Garrett, along with Waters, rotating at the tight end slot. Panthers with a very formidable task in front of them tonight. They face a team that is the best offensive team in district. And Rick, what they're fighting for tonight is the Battle of the Bell, which signifies the District 4-5A championship.
Well, it has a lot of significance because that means a lot to have that bell all season long during the regular season. And you're right, that's what they're playing for. And I guarantee you, they both want it, and they want to keep it.
Now, Wednesday at practice, the Bell squad pulled a fast one. They chained the bell to the practice field out by Permian's practice field and rang it to remind the players of the significance of what it stands for. Abilene Cooper has not won a district championship since they defeated Permian and took the district crown in 1979. That game was here at Abilene. Final score was 14-3. That was the only time in the past 13 seasons that Cooper has come away with a victory. This series began in 1961, and Permian leads the series by a score of 27 wins against 5 losses. And most important, as far as Cooper's concerned, was a very sour taste in their mouth loss last year, 31-30 at Ratliff. We'll get into that just a little bit later. And David Anderson gets his toe into it. He does have the wind at his back. Williams loses the handle in the end zone, does the wise thing, and elects to stay there. And Permian will open play tonight out at their own 20-yard line. They're facing a defense that has been taking advantage of it sometime this year, Rick, but they have a very strong linebacker, number 42.
That is their big man. And they, speaking of big, they are big almost everywhere. If you look at that line, offensive line, defensive line, a lot of big people out there for this Abilene Cooper team.
You may see them running a 4-man front. They may possibly start with a 5-man front. They do come out with a 4-man. The return of Austin Jones is something they're excited about. Injured a few weeks ago, but raring to go tonight. And Permian with a first down play, pitches it back to Pinkstaff. Defense keys on Williams. Pinkstaff picks up 3 out to the 23-yard line.
That's all it takes. What you need to do right now is get used to it. Start working your game plan you've talked about all this time tonight when they came here and saw what the weather was like. And you're going to try and grind it out. I don't think you can do a whole lot of quick cuts or anything like that out on that field this evening.
Cade King, before the night started, Coach Cade King, I said, hey, Coach, cold night tonight. And he goes, hey, great night for football. Let's play.
Yeah.
And really, that's the attitude you need. It's the same for both sides of the ball, so let's go out and see if we can take it to them. Here is Williams up the middle. There is a flag you see flying and probably going to be a holding call against the Panthers. We'll check just to make sure. The gain would have been close to a first as Williams made his way out to the 29-yard line. This officiating crew is from the Houston area. And, Rick, that's a late flag for a motion penalty. Usually the motion penalty would come as the play is unfolding, but that was almost completed before the flag came out.
Yeah, I don't know if he couldn't get it out of his pocket or what.
May have been frozen in there.
Well, it could have been. That could happen. And Also, he needs to put some weight in that thing tonight because that must have gone 10 yards downfield before it hit the ground.
Well, he may be chasing that one all night.
But, you know, the wind's going to play that kind of game tonight, Barry. This wind is going to be real important here.
Sheldon Bass has caught the second most number of passes in all of Class 5A coming in, and expect to have him as a major part of this offense. 43 catches on the year. That almost equals what Kendrick Parrott had for the Panthers all of last season. We'll get into that in just a moment. Panthers after the penalty. The loss of 5 faces 2nd and 12. They are their own 18, and Keaton will roll out left. Looks for a block. He has it. Pass intended for Cody Kidd, and Kidd has it hit off the shoulder pads. Rick, that's something you got to watch tonight. You don't want to let it get through your hands. You got to grab a hold and bring it in.
You're right. You got to keep it away. But the other part of it is, too, that your hands are awful cold out there. And that ball touches your hands. It's just like sending fire shooting through the end of your fingers. And that's kind of a reaction. You want to try and bring it into you and trap it. But as cold as it is, plus on that play, he was hit awful hard from behind, you know.
Looked like he may have been hit just a bit early from the replay. It looked like the defensive man hit the offensive receiver prior to the ball arriving. And we have a timeout. I didn't see who called the timeout. Let's check and see. I believe it's timeout Permian. As Permian has to talk about this one as 3rd and 12 from their own 18-yard line. And we have no score early in the ball game. And Rick, one thing that we hadn't talked about yet, and that was in pregame warm-ups, punting into the wind. Going to be a tough thing to do all night tonight. I wouldn't want to be a punter.
Well, look where we are right now, and the difficulty is going to be, as you said, in pregame we were watching the punters for Permian kicking into that wind, and if you get it up, you know, it could come right back to the line of scrimmage or behind it, and it was doing it earlier, or it may get the most, what do we say, 10 or 12 yards at the most?
Both Lenny and Cooney punting into the teeth of the wind, punting an average of 7 to 10 yards, and from this point, that means that Cooper will be starting play around the Permian 25, so Permian certainly wants to come up with something. Williams has the ball getting loose from him. It's going to be up to him to get across the line, but he simply runs out of bounds to the 7-yard line, and Rick, that kind of play, you know, you look like you want to get just a little bit more because you're punting into the teeth of wind. He simply took the easy route out.
Well, it's important now, and of course, he didn't have anywhere to go. There were 2 defenders out there, but he just went straight across, and, you know, as cold as it is, I'm sure the injuries are a key factor to be considered tonight. But here it is on, what, the 6-yard line, 7-yard line, and if they've been getting 10 yards, that's going to give Abilene real good field conditions.
Now, 2 years ago here in Abilene, the Cooper Cougars jumped out to a 12-0 lead with 3 minutes to play in the first quarter before Permian got untracked. Last week in Odessa at Ratliff Stadium, Cooper jumped out to the 17-0 lead, and now this punt carries out only to the Permian 22. It's a punt of 15 yards, and Cooper in excellent field position as they will begin this one at the Permian 22-yard line. Here is the Permian defense quickly. Let's look at it. Pinkstaff and Jensen will have the start tonight of the defensive end positions with Waters and Wharton inside. Linebackers a very important part of tonight's ball game for Permian defensively. Hamilton and Garrett, and the return of Patrick Cooney. He will be starting tonight at the outside linebacker. We'll hit the other players in just a moment. Zach Allen under center with Mike Rose, the league's leading ball carrier in the backfield, and Permian quickly takes his legs out from under him as Jensen makes a smart play and goes down low and grabs the running back's legs and brings him to the turf.
Well, you know, the story has been on this Rose youngster is that you can't just hit him and knock him down. You've got to hang on to something, and Jensen definitely did that. He had a hold of one leg, and he wasn't going anywhere, and I think the coach has been saying, look, if you get a hold of something, hang on, and help will be there.
Yeah, the Abilene Cooper offense, as we said a moment ago, the league's best, averaging 448 yards per game. Not like this, Rick. I'm sure that any team will be happy with about 14 points and then let the rest of it happen as it may. This pitch is from the quarterback, Zach Allen, as he was kind of rustled up in the backfield and pitched the ball to number 34 coming across. That's Kobe Johnson. And Johnson all the way down to the Permian 13, about a yard short of a first.
Misdirection play. Watch this. Quarterback there, comes around, says, oop, little pitch out, coming across closer to the line, and, you know, picks up the yardage. That's all they're after right now, and it's going to be measured for a first down.
Yeah, they have to get to the Permian 12. And after stretching the sticks, if they have it, it's by the tip of the football. They say, no, it's about the tip of the football short. And Abilene now with 9:38 to play in the first quarter will face a third and about an inch. This short field is Cooper elected to take the wind behind him, let the defense do the job, and that along with a very untimely penalty against the Permian Panthers have set up Cooper in great field position to start their first possession of the night.
That was our concern, at the first, Barry, when we were watching them warm up and everything like that, and especially when we saw the velocity of this wind, and saying if you had to go into it and punt into it, it was going to be difficult for you. So what you had to maintain for Permian is to keep as good a field position as you could, because the punt wasn't going to get you anywhere.
This certainly is not the kind of night that you want to spend the whole half backed up in your end of the field. You have to cross midfield and make something happen on the other end. Here is Mike Rose up the middle. All 215 pounds of him powers inside of the 10-yard line. He will have enough for the first. And Abilene Cooper picks up the initial first down of the night. This one squarely on the 10-yard line after the gain of 3. And looks like we have an Abilene Cooper player that's kind of shaking off something happened. Maybe somebody stepped on his hand or something. Abilene starts 4 juniors across the front line. Clark, Anderson, Smith, and Heron. All of them juniors, all of them big. 250, 260, 215, and 200. The lone senior is Cowan, the center at 200. He's a senior, as we said, everybody else a junior. Allen fakes it inside, rolls out. He has Sheldon Bass up against him as Hamilton forced him deep. And Bass makes the sure-handed tackle back to the 12 for a loss of 2.
Well, we have some reaction, as you'll see, from the crowd on that other hit afterwards. It was not a late hit by any means, but because he didn't get him good. But staying here and coming up and making that play, that is a big play. Now, see, over the top, he didn't touch him because he was trying to go over the top of him and clear him.
No, he did the wise thing. He came in, as he came in to help make the sure tackle, saw the man was down and simply just redirected himself over the player. And the officials, seeing that, did not throw the flag. You don't want to throw anything tonight in this big a ball game unless you're absolutely certain. This is Kobe Johnson. Johnson fumbles it. Permian picks it up. They can pick it up and advance it, but instead elect to fall on it. And Rick, the defense backed up deep in their own end of the field after the short punt and the first offensive series not work, and now come away with a great play by the defense and come up with a big turnover.
They definitely do, and I think Garrett was in there. If you watch, there's the hit. Here comes, wasn't it William? Who we got?
It looks like Bass 18. You can see him popping up. Bass, of course, made the big hit on Phillip Sims last week for the big fumble early in the first quarter against Lee, and again comes up with a big stick tonight and knocks what has to be a very, very cold pair of hands away from that football.
That's what's going to happen all night, and that's what you can go for.
Permian now starts this series basically where they started the last one, from their own 21-yard line, and again, they dial the number of the senior tailback. This is Greg Pinkstaff, who coming in had carried the ball. Really not a whole lot, Rick, as this offense is dominated around John Williams. Pinkstaff, 23 carries coming in, his second tonight, and Williams over 170. And that means if the defense is keying, the quarterback sees that, he can call the number of the tailback and let him try to do his thing.
Well, and the defense has been playing to where it's Williams' key call, and Pinkstaff just hadn't had the opportunity that many times.
7 minutes and 37 seconds to play. We are scoreless in the first quarter of a very cold, wintry-like night here late in the fall out in West Texas. And again, we have a whistle as Permian. Look at the flag coming in late. Whistle first, flag later. Sometimes I think that's kind of backwards to why they teach in officiating school.
Well, that was that umpire, and again, that's the second time that umpire has called that, and he's thrown it late after the play had already started. So I wish we could actually find out, what is going on for that umpire to be calling it. It must be something going on up front. I don't know. There's a million things that they can see.
Now, Permian coming in, certainly not a team that shoots themselves in the foot a lot. They average only 4 penalties per game, and already 2 here quickly in the first quarter in the area of the field where you really can't afford any mistakes. Permian, after the penalty, move it back to the 20, and actually back to the 19. And after Pinkstaff's run and the penalty, this makes this a 2nd and 11. And Williams on the carry, again having trouble getting untracked early, as the gain will be Nava out to the 20-yard line. And Williams challenged just a bit this week in the Abilene press, wouldn't you say?
I think he's challenged quite a bit when they said, they don't think if it gets tough out there, that he's going to do much running. And I think a lot of it, if you're not going to do a whole lot of running with John Anderson, you know, he's the one that came up and made that tackle, and that's the big back that we talked about earlier.
Williams not very happy about those comments, and certainly like to see him turn it on tonight and make them eat their words. 6:33 to play. We're in the first quarter. Keaton looking to pass. He has Bass. Bass does the little sidestep as he tries to get out to the 30. He has to reach across the 30 to the 31 for a first, and looks to be that Permian will be short of the first as they will mark this one short. In fact, they're going to mark it all the way back to the 29-yard line, a gain of 9, but more importantly, a good yard and a half short of a first, and Permian again will have to put to the teeth of that win. 6:05 to play in the first quarter. Keith is saying go for it, why not? And I kind of agree with you. If the gain's only going to be about 7, but then again, I don't really think you monkey around with things this early.
No, I think it is too early to make that difference, but, you know, there's a lot of chances. The snap's got to be perfect every time, the cold hands on the punter and everything, but, you know, there also could be a lapse in the wind. Not.
Lenny back to punt, and he punts it into the teeth of the wind, and it gets a horrible bounce all the way back to the 35. This is a net gain of 6 for the Permian punting game as Lenny elects to kick it high instead of low into the wind and let the ball kind of cut into the teeth and bounce, but instead the breeze catches it and throws it back into his face.
Well, that's true. We're talking ideal way to punt, you know, in this kind of wind is kick it low, but if you get it too low, the line can block it on you and it comes back. So, you know, there's all kind of differences there. So this is just a tough one. I don't care who the punter is.
So Abilene now 2 possessions and twice starting from deep inside Permian territory. Here is the handoff inside, again to that big back, Mike Rose. He is tripped up by Pinkstaff, and Pinkstaff took just enough out of him that he took a nosedive to the turf down to the 28-yard line.
You know, I sure thought I think we're going to get a replay. No, yeah, replay. Let's watch Rose's knee. You know, when he's hit, watch him go. See, is his knee? Right there.
No, hit it right at the 30-yard line.
On the 30-yard line. I thought I saw that drop down there. Come on, give me a break.
They gave him an extra 2 yards on that carry. Rose 15-17 yardage coming in, had 13.65 as a junior, and he is the number 3 leading ball carrier in all of Class 5A. Again, Rose inside, and Rose will have enough for the first. And once that official comes sprinting in from the side, I haven't seen him move that fast all night.
Well,
it's first down and 10 now for Abilene Cooper.
I think it's cold. That's one way to warm up. You run in because you stand on the sideline so long. But that's another first down. You're right. And, you know, Abilene Cooper has had great field position every time they've gotten the ball. And, again, the tough Permian defense has been there to turn them back. Either hold them a while, long enough for somebody to knock a ball loose.
Well, something you've got to be concerned about in a game of this magnitude, Rick, are 2 things. One, if you have a tie game, you need to be ahead in penetrations and first downs.
There you go.
And the penalty against Abilene Cooper is they have an offensive guard, looked like Hubie Smith, just a little bit eager to get across the line. And this will cost Cooper 5, back to the 30. 4.5 minutes to play in the first quarter as Permian needs to survive this series and get the ball to get the wind to their back, and then turn the tables on Abilene Cooper and see how they play with a short field.
Well, and that's kind of right there is already turning it. You know, the Permians had to do that twice, get that extra 5. Let's see what Cooper does with it.
The quarterback is Zach Allen. Zach Allen, the leading quarterback in district. He's had a great year thus far, leading the team to, as we said, the best numbers in all of district. And this is Rose inside. Look at him power inside the 25. Waters grabs a hold of him, and Brito, along with Washington, come up and try to put the stops on him back down to the 20. They're going to mark it. Well, they're going to mark it at the 22-yard line, close to the 21. Looked like it went down to 23.
Misdirection again. Quarterback heads one way. Here comes Rose back across the other way, and it's kind of wide open.
Well, the coach in district quoted as saying, you can hit him in the backfield, and 9 yards later, it takes 9 men to bring him down.
Well,
and that's the mark of a great back. 215 pounds. A 3-year starter on the varsity. Played quite a bit behind Tony Tate the last couple of years. Here's a pass inside as he finds the tight end, Bob Berg. Berg rated the best tight end in all of district and the player that Permian most worried about in the passing game. Berg's 21st catch on the year, and he's wide open and grabs a hold of that pig hide and is tackled down at the Permian 7.
Well, Allen was right with him. And then Allen just happened to turn and look to see where the quarterback was going to do. And, you know, the timing was just perfect for that quarterback to hit Berg breaking out behind Garrett. Garrett Steele was there to make tackle.
Now the gain is 14, and Abilene Cooper now knocking at the Permian door, the 7-yard line. Permian's defense trying to get the offensive line of Cooper to jump. Here's the handoff inside to Rose, and look at that power as Rose crosses the goal line for the touchdown. You hit him low, you hit him high, and he just keeps driving on you, and he's in the end zone before you know it.
Well, that's what we talked about earlier, and here comes that replay. Watch this. They're trying to get him off, as you can see right there. Now then, here goes Rose. Boom, he's hit hard right there. But, as we said, he's got great balance. What do we got there, Barry? 15?
Well, that's his 16th of the year.
Oh, now
16th rushing touchdown of the year. And now David Anderson, 30 and 34 in the extra point category, and that's a category that may make a difference tonight, as Anderson tags it on to the scoreboard. And now with 2:54 to play for the third consecutive year, Abilene Cooper has taken a lead on Permian, this one by 7-0. The Abilene Cooper drive, 5 plays in 2 minutes and 39 seconds, covered the 36 yards and 7 yards on the last carry by Mike Rose. Puts Abilene Cooper up by a score of 7-0. But the key to the first quarter so far, Rick, we have 2:54 to play, has been the fact that Permian has had to start deep, has not been able to generate a first down, and then they've had the short punts. The first punt carried, 15 yards. The second punt, 7? 15 the first time and 6 the second time, and it's kind of hard to ask your defense to do a lot when you're way down that deep.
Well, the more times you give them, you know, with a runner like Rose, you know, you can say what you want to. This young man's leading district, and, you know, he is an excellent runner. And you give him that many chances and that close to the end zone, the odds are he's going to score.
Yeah, this one, all the way through the end zone, Williams elects to let it go, hoping it would go out of bounds, which means Permian will take over at the 35, but it does go through the end zone, staying within the field of play. Now Permian will again start from the 20, and I think you need to take, as they say, don't take the giant journey, take the small step, and that's get a first down and just try to move down the field. And the key to that, Rick, no penalties and do something on first down.
Yeah, they need to pick up some yardage here, and just to get a little confidence in themselves, you know, start building that, and you know, it's like that little train. I know I can, I know I can.
Right.
Yeah, well, no, they know they can.
Now, Permian now starting from the 20, the teeth of the wind still in their face. It was about 20 miles an hour as the game time started. Williams has the corner, cuts back inside. The gain is 6 out to the 26-yard line as Williams gets the tough carry and did the first thing we talked about, and that is make something happen on first down, make second and third just a little bit easier. But you have to be careful, make sure you don't jump and have a penalty and move you back and negate the yardage.
Well, yeah, I think they've learned that, and they know that. The big thing that the Cooper coaches were afraid of is not letting Williams, of course, get the corner. And that's what he did there. When he does that, he picks up 6-7 yards.
Now, Williams had the -11 carry the first time that led to the first short punt by Permian, but because of a fumble recovery by the defense, didn't hurt them on the scoreboard. But now seems to get his, boy, look at that. He just flat out pushes Keaton. Was that Keaton? Yeah, he pushed to the ground. Get out of my way. I want to pick up that first. Now, one thing they told us before the game, Rick, the coaches said they're going to call a lot more inside plays, and instead of going wide so much, let him pick his hole and kick it back inside and follow a block.
Well, watch Keaton. See, Keaton's going to lead it in. See him? Boom!
I don't think he did it on purpose. I thought he did, but he didn't.
No, Nick was trying to get in that hole quick, but Williams already had his momentum going. You know, and Nick just couldn't get out there to help him, so it was just, you know, somebody had to go.
Now the gain was all the way out to the 34, the gain of 8. And here is Williams. He has the corner, he has the perimeter, and he gets the tough yardage as he meets the defensive back one-on-one. It looked like he ran into Ben Munoz. No, that was Tim Willis. I believe it was Willis. Was that 40 that he just about obliterated? No, it was Brad Hicks.
Yeah.
Hicks, number 10, the safety, one of the 175-pound seniors, said, "Hi, John!" And boom.
He said he grabbed a hold of a tiger he didn't want, but he couldn't turn him loose.
Well, it's important that Permian, after this 5-yard carry, Rick, they keep the ball the next 1 minute and 50 seconds, have the wind at their back, and then they'll see what they can do with the running game and the passing game to go with it. 1:44 to play. Permian trails in this one 7-0 after the 7-yard run by Mike Rose. Williams, look at the tough running inside as he bounces off a couple of Cooper defenders and powers his way for the first all the way out to the Permian 47-yard line. Now that's some tough running inside, Rick.
You know, it's kind of like Williams right now is saying, you know, Nick, hey, watch this, baby. Here I come. Oh, here I am again. You know.
You didn't see the kid though. Back when he was a sophomore, the playoff game was against Arlington Lamar. He was in a car wreck on Thanksgiving night, and by game time, I mean he was black and blue and swollen. There's no way you can get out of bed, much less play ball. He earned a lot of people's respect that night, and we know he can do it when the going gets tough. Shirley showing it tonight as he's out to the 50-yard line. The play started on the Permian 46, and now Permian has moved inside of 1 minute, and they're out at midfield.
Let's watch a block back here in the trail that Bass throws. Now, you'll see a body come flying across. Here comes the body. Watch. Boom! He turns a flip. He put one down on him, and then it allowed him to turn loose. Sheldon put a block that you wouldn't believe.
Bass obliterated the man. Also back there blocking was Marquista Ross, as Permian had two blockers in the offensive backfield, and Marquista Ross is in the backfield it looks like for Pinkstaff. No, that is Pinkstaff, my mistake. 27, not 17. It looked like the defender got there early, Brad Hicks, and intended for, was that Bass the pass was intended for? Or no, it was intended for Keltron Montgomery, and I don't know, it looked like just a little bit early, but the pass falls incomplete.
Well, let's keep an eye on it. It looks like he's got his hand on his back to start with, and and the referee's right out there with him. Boom! How do I call that one? Well, if, you know, of course.
Where's the hanky?
Am I the hanky man?
Well, of course, we're not supposed to make comments about the officiating crew, so I'll take that back what I just said. Permian now facing a very important 3rd and 6. Williams needs the perimeter. He needs to reach inside the 45. He's going to be short, as Williams will be out to the 46-yard line of Abilene Cooper and 2 yards short of what's needed for a first down. No, they're going to mark him all the way back, Rick, to the 48.
Well, see, I was watching the referee there when he was spotting it, and it looks like what he saw was when Williams started to make his cut, that he was at the sideline and touched and then turned up. So this is another big play again. Here comes the punt problems.
Lenny back in punt formation again, punting into the teeth of the wind. 20 seconds to play. We are in the first quarter, as the first quarter will be coming to a rapid close.
Oh, nice.
And he gets his foot into this one and gets a great roll. Finally gets the ball to turn over, as now Abilene Cooper will start this one down at the 24-yard line. A great job of Lenny of not only getting the ball just a little bit lower, but getting the trajectory and the bounce on it to make it roll the 24 yards and pin Abilene back a lot further than where they've been starting the game earlier.
Well, this is kind of unique to Abilene. I'm sure they don't know what that end of the field looks like, and you know, there hasn't been a whole lot of play down there yet, so this could be new.
Now they are inside of the 20. Scoreboard says the 20-yard line, but officially looks to be placed at the 19. And 10 seconds to play in the first quarter. Abilene Cooper with a 7-0 lead. That score was a 7-yard run by Mike Rose, and this is Rose again. As he sidesteps, looked like Cooney. Cooney had him on the outside. He took the inside route, and Hamilton along with, was that Waters 88, comes up to make the tackle, and we have come to the end of the first quarter of play from a very cold, winter-like P.E. Shotwell Stadium at Abilene. Second quarter coming up at the end of one. It's Abilene Cooper 7 and Odessa Permian 0. Unofficially in the first quarter, Permian with 38 yards of offense, Abilene Cooper with 54, and a very big 14-yard pass play that led to the one score. Incomplete. Pass intended for, let's see who gets up off the ground, looks to be Kobe Johnson, 34. Is that right? Well, it's really tough to see with those jerseys tucked into the pants. Kobe Johnson intended on the pass. This is a second down play after the 5-yard gain by Rose. And Bass on the coverage. The ball you saw hit the turf and falls away incomplete. Now Abilene Cooper with Rick, what should be a very interesting play as they now move into the teeth of the wind. And if the Permian defense can make the play here, then Abilene will be forced to kick into the wind, and we'll see what will happen with their punting game.
Well, I think they got to watch is Rose right now, because he's the key to pick up those little yards.
They may try that little shuffle pass. Here he goes. They're going to try it back across the field. And this is Rose on the receiving end. And they're out to the 30. That should be enough for the first, as they had to reach the 29-yard line. In fact, the official standing squarely on the 30. The gain is 6. And the chains move for the Permian first.
Yeah, that went to the tight end Berg because Rose rolled out to the near side of the field, and he faked it to Rose and then turned around and threw it back to Berg, who had two linemen in front of him. And all he needed was, as you said, the 3-4 yards, and got it. And that was important because you're right. I want to see what they have to do.
Well, very tough to differentiate between the 31 and the 87.
You're right. Oh, the way they've got them tucked in, the numbers you can't read.
From the 30-yard line, Kobe Johnson on the receiving end of this pass, and Cooney gets there quickly, and then all of a sudden the 85, Alan Garrett, says, hold on to him, buddy, here I come, and is there to help make the tackle down to the 30 for a gain of nothing.
You're right, and that's what they said, you know, as I was saying earlier. Coach says, hang on to what you get, boys, because the cavalry's coming.
Now, Cooney did not play last week as far as a linebacking position's concerned. He did punt after the early injury to Joey Lenny. And, no, he has to be raring to go. Told me early in the week, don't want to stand on the sidelines 2 weeks in a row, and I'm sure he's wanting to hit somebody. Knee seems to be holding up, and now Abilene, after the gain of nothing, faces a 2nd and 10, and this one looked like it was knocked down. Well, what's a late flag? We have a late flag. Looked to be that number 56, Travis Jensen, got there and knocked the ball loose. And could it be an illegal man downfield or what? No? Well, okay, what they're saying, they threw a flag saying that there was a penalty against Permian, but the ball was hit. Once the ball's touched, there is no penalty because you can do whatever you want to the man.
It was.
All right, that's exactly what he's calling. Okay, so what they're saying is that the flag is going to be picked up because the ball was tipped by Jensen, and after that, you know, you're dead meat.
It's open. Yeah. Well, here comes that big play.
It's hunting season 2 weeks early.
That's the one you put on the fender and bring home. But here we got 10 yards to go for 3rd down, and big play here for Permian. They need to hold.
10:38 to play before halftime, and Abilene Cooper says we're going to have to call a timeout and talk about this one because this is a very big play. The Abilene Cooper offense has to reach the 40 for the first, and midway or just barely into the second quarter with 10:38 to play in the second. From Abilene, our score is Cooper 7, Permian nothing. Coming up at halftime tonight, right before the Panthers take the field for the second half of play, we're going to tell you about the district races in both District 4-5A and District 3-5A. I know a lot of folks are wondering what's happened up in the Northern District. Lubbock Coronado leads that district, but there's a log jam beyond that. We'll tell you why and show you how that stuff's gonna ring out in the next couple of weeks, and what also is going to happen in 4-5A because that could be a little touchy.
You're not going to get complicated, are you?
Oh, no, that's why we're going to put it on the screen. That way I don't have to confuse anybody. We're going to say, here it is, folks. Read it and make your own determinations. Zach Allen under center. It is 3rd and 10, 3 wide. Split to the wide right for Permian. Faked inside to Rose. Here comes Eric Williams, and Rose flat out drops the ball. He had a whole field in front of him, Rick, and it looked like Cooney. No, it looked like Jensen realized what was happening and tried to peel back, and Rose saw him coming back and took his eyes off the ball, and what could have been a big play for a first fell to the turf.
Could have been a big play because you're right. There was so much faking going on in that backfield. I lost the ball 8 times, and then when they finally see who it's going to go to, he took his eyes off. You're right, because he heard those footsteps.
Eric Williams putting the pressure on. Now Callan hits this one straight up in the air. And look at it roll back and peel back to the Abilene 33-yard line. And now Permian playing with a short end of the field after the net gain of 2 yards on the punt are in great field position now at the Abilene Cooper 32-yard line. Make it the 33-yard line.
That's kind of like now, can't you see Lenny on the sideline saying, see what it feels like, you know, to try and kick into that win?
This is not a night that you want to be a punter. I'm sure as you watch the NFL on Sundays, you think, well, that's the job I want.
Yeah,
that looks like a great job, but nights like this, you certainly don't want to be responsible for the punting game. Here is Williams. He breaks inside, breaks outside, breaks back outside again, and gains this one all the way down to the 25-yard line. The line of scrimmage began at the 33, and I tell you, just a little bit of jiving inside and juking outside, and finally gets 8.
Well, what he was looking for is which way was going to be the best to go, because there was a big hole momentarily there, and it closed real quick, so he had to move outside, and then he had a blocker out there on the left side. that was blocking his man in, so he didn't know which way. Should he cut in? Should he go outside of him? Which way is he going to move him? Finally made that decision, went outside of it.
Now they're going to say officially a gain of 7 as they mark it down to the 26 rather than the 25 Permian. Began at the 33, needs to reach the 23 for the first. Here's Williams inside, looking for the tough yards. He looks like he should have enough for the first as he's down inside the 22-yard line. That should move the sticks, and Permian needs to make something happen on this drive. Down to the 21-yard line, and Permian will have a 1st and 10.
The big first, you might say. And I really think what it looks like right now, as we talked about a little earlier, is that Williams is driven. And I don't mean by his legs or anything like that, but he's driven by the stuff that's being
said. The challenge, I'm sure.
Yeah, how tough he is, you know.
Permian electing to go with the horse of the tight end offense as Bass is checked out and Waters has come into the ball game. He, along with Garrett, are going to be helping in the blocking patterns, along with Montgomery and, of course, quarterback Keaton. As Permian wants to grind this one out inside, it looks to be, as you can see on the on your television set, Rick, the best part of the field is right there in the middle. If you stay there, I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at? Down to the 15, the gain was 6. And Permian facing 2nd and 4. Looking for the alley-oop into the end zone. This one intended for Sheldon Bass, and double coverage back there is Brandon Berg, the sophomore, 160-pound brother of the tight end, Bob Berg. Had some great positioning, and Keaton just threw it too long, doing the wise thing, electing to try something on 3rd.
Well, not only that, but with that strong wind, that's hard to judge when you're doing the alley-oop pass because you're trying to lob it to start with. You got it up in the air, and the wind's going to help you. But also what you saw on that probably was Bass getting double coverage.
Well, they say this series started at the 22, so Permian needs 3 for the first. Williams will go inside, and he should have what he needs. This should be 2-down territory, or 4-down territory. Key says he's about a half a yard short. You've got great eyesight, huh? I'm going to look and say Permian trails on the scoreboard 7-0 to 9:02 to play before halftime, and I'll tell you, not the kind of night that is really fit for man or beast, but we're here to play football.
You're right. It's a football game, whether you like it or not. It's cold out there. And this was close enough to measure, so let's see. Oh, that's kind of hard to do.
You're going to have to look. It looks to me, no. Well, Keaton saying, okay, guys, we got it, but the official bends down and Rick, when Maxwell Smart used to say, got him by this much. That's about how much short he is, about an inch. And what do you do? Hand it to the fullback or say, Nick, lean forward?
I would, I guess if I was Nick, I'd try and go over the middle, but why when you got all that hoss fire in the backfield?
Yeah, the hoss fire, you can mishandle on the snap or you can mishandle on something. So nothing fancy, simply get the first and keep the sticks moving. And Rick, look at that. Here comes the flag. And that flag was thrown to the 20 and flies to the 3. That tells you the wind speed, folks. They say motion against Permian. Do we have a replay on this play? Let's look at it again. We're going to look at it. He said motion by the Permian offense, and, I really ought to watch my mouth for a second, but we picked it up too late. We're going to have to pick it up before that.
That's tough. It's a tough one, and Keith kind of saw it start a little bit early. It seemed like not everybody was set from what we could see, but it's difficult out here right now.
All right, Permian will elect to go to the field goal as Eric Stevenson will come on the field, 4-7 in the kicking department this year. Lucas Molina will set this one down at the the Abilene Cooper 24. The attempt will be from 34 yards out, and Eric Stevenson nails it right through the upright, so Permian at least gets some points out of it as Eric Stevenson, the senior, is good for his 5th field goal of the year, and Permian now pulls within 4 with 8:31 to play before halftime. It is Abilene Cooper 7 and the Permian Panthers 3. The field goal officially 34 yards by Eric Stevenson, whose longest was 37 against El Paso Coronado. And I tell you, that's an area that Permian has certainly been improving in. 38 yards against Midland is Stevenson's best. I tell you, he has gotten better and better as the years have gone on.
The accuracy is great, and the timing was good for that, Barry, because of the wind. Now's the time that Permian really needs to score. It's kind of like if you got the wind going against you, you got problems. And Permian's got it going with them. So you get the points and you get what you can.
Now, Stevenson needs to put this one as deep into the end zone as he can. This one will come down short at about the 7, and they say that the knee of the receiver, let's check and see who received the kickoff. It was picked up by Brandon Berg, and they say that his knee touched at the 7-yard line, and that could come into play, Rick, as Abilene will start deep in their own territory.
Well, there's that same scenario. You know, this is what, let's watch this replay quick, carefully. Here we go. Boom, he was down. Yeah, his right knee.
They drive by Permian, 6 plays to 33 yards. Minute and 52 seconds. The field goal by Stevenson pulls Permian within 7-3 and 8:31 to play before half. Very important defensive stand again for Permian because Abilene moving into the teeth of a 20-mile-per-hour straight northerly wind. Look at that early hit, and then here come the rest of the defenders. Who made the early hit, Rick? It looked like it was Pinkstaff, 27, that stung him just enough. Was it Garrett?
Mm-hmm.
Stung him just enough to throw him off balance, and then here comes the rest of the swarming defense to put him to the turf.
Oh, you're right. Keltron came up, and, you know, there was a hose. Let's watch here, and you can see. Okay, he's going to come up. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm behind. Oh, it was Pinkstaff. Yeah, and then came up Garrett to make the finish.
Blue-collar player deluxe is Greg Pinkstaff. In fact, in that scathing column in the Abilene paper, they said Pinkstaff's the one you got to worry about because of his work ethic and the fact that he's just a great athlete. Here is Zach Allen. Allen has a lot of running room as he fakes it inside. The official is to the turf. Somebody just flat out blasted him. And we've got an official injured on the field, and he really doesn't know where he's at. He's really hurting. The gain by Allen all the way out to the 14. The first play was a loss of 1. Abilene has to reach about the 17-yard line for a first, and this will get them out to the 14.
Let's see if we can see across the middle. You know, I think it's the umpire, and the umpire plays behind the defensive line, trying to catch the defense. And coming across there he went down right there. And, you know, that's tough because you're not watching him as a player. What you're looking for is, hey, where's the guy going with the ball and keeping your eye on him and looking for potential blockers that are going to cut you out. You're not looking ahead of you, and somebody just accidentally ran into him.
Cooney just inadvertently hit him, but Cooney also was the first one to get back to him and try to help him up and make sure he's okay, and that certainly wasn't intentional. The gain by Zach Allen.
Is he the guy been throwing the flag?
Well, I tell you what, Rick, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
That was a good one.
Well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that.
The sticks have not moved. The down marker hasn't moved. It's still sitting back at the 6-yard line. So whatever happened, I don't see a flag on the field, but whatever happened, watch the replay here. You'll see Cooney just accidentally hitting. There's a still frame of it. Look at the bottom of your picture. You can see Zach Allen. Boy, there's a great picture. I'd like to frame this. And here comes Pinkstaff. Who's that? That's Garrett. There's Waylon Waters.
Good job, Bobby.
I'll tell you, great job, Bobby Bailey. In fact, the official, you'll see the...
Debbie, excuse me?
Debbie Bailey, our replay artist on that, and we certainly appreciate her work. Sorry I called you Kathy last week. And
Kathy/Debbie.
Yeah, right. That's what I've got written down, so I won't forget. Also, I'll tell you, we've got some brave cameramen tonight. Cliff Beggett and Perry Berryhill doing a great job tonight because this is not a great night to be out filming high school football when you've got your hands around a piece of cold metal. So apparently, the officiating crew will have to go one man short. What happened to him? The officials come to the side. He's over here someplace. They're going to be talking to Randy Allen. Let's talk a little bit about Randy Allen. 1-9 in 1990 was the capper of a 5-year stretch where Abilene Cooper went 13 against 35 losses. They bring in Randy Allen, who was a 1967 state finals player, played on that state finals team, graduated in 68 from Cooper. First year here, 4-6, and then after that, they've really turned it around. 1992, last year, 7-4, and then this year, 6-1-1. And I tell you, Abilene Cooper's really coming on strong, and Randy Allen is doing a great job here at Abilene Cooper. This will be a 3rd and 3. Abilene, the Cougars have to reach the 17-yard line for a first, so watch for you-know-who, Mike Rose. Rose has the first. Cooney grabs a hold of him. It takes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Panthers to bring him to the turf, but Mike Rose gets all the way out to the 20-yard line. It looked like the official was signaling a penalty against Abilene Cooper. No, they weren't. Okay, out to the 20-yard line. And The sticks are moved, and now with 7:14 to play in the second quarter, the Cougars have a new set of downs to work with. I tell you, what a load as he comes up through that line. Took 8 of them to bring him to the turf.
Well, he's big and he's fast. And as they said, he's a tough young man. You know, you got to give him credit. He deserves everything he's gotten from what I've seen so far.
Now, the Panther defense did a number last time around as they knocked the Cougars for a 1-yard loss on first. Look at that ball get knocked down by the wind. And the receiver, Jason King, came back and just almost happened to fall in the right place at the right time, but the ball falls incomplete.
Well, but he's a good actor, too. Watch this replay. Because
watch that wind knock the ball down. Look at that.
It just flutters. See it? Well,
oh, my goodness.
He tried to pluck it off the ground.
Oh, man.
And I think it hit the ground right when his hands got a hold of it and pulled it in. The ref, see, here's where the problem's going to be on the umpires.
I thought it was a catch.
On the umpires is, what you've had to do is, because your umpire's out that plays up right behind the defensive line catching the holding and things like that, they've had to bring up the back judge who was watching for the passing errors. And now you've got nobody covering that, and that, you know, that could have been a case right there.
The back judge is sitting on the Cooper bench. He is sitting up there attending to him, and hopefully he'll be okay and be able to recover. Look at the pressure put on by the Permian defense. This one intended for Berg. Who put the pressure on? Let's look back in the backfield. It looks like it's Waters, but I'll double check it. It is Waters. Waters and Jensen get back there. We're going to watch a replay of this. Watch the pressure by the Permian defense. There's Jensen, and he got back there in a hurry. Then it was up to the linebacker to knock the ball loose, Cooney to knock the ball loose of Berg. And now here's a big play, Rick. 6:43 to play in the second quarter. Permian trailing 7-3. Abilene into that tough wind at the 20. They face a 3rd and 10. And Permian can't lack Rose and Allen beat him this time. They have to put their pressure and stay with their man and make Cooper punt once again. Allen rolling to his left. Here comes Horton. This one looks like it's a catch. No, he says no, it's incomplete. Intended for Kobe Johnson. And again, throwing into the teeth of that wind. I tell you, Rick, Allen has a great arm, but he's having a tough time trying to direct that ball into the wind and try to get it to his receivers. 2 of 9 in the passing department. And, of course, the big one was the 14-yard completion that led to the first score by the Cooper Cougars. Here's the replay. Watch the wind just knock it down.
Well, he's coming to the sideline, rolling out, and it does knock it down.
Oh, man.
Looks close, but, you know, you see the receiver saying, no, I caught it, and, of course, the ref saying no. And right there is Coach Allen, and he's not griping. So,
Permian setting up for the return. Get away from the ball. Let it do what it has to do, and this gets a great roll. Look at this. As Permian sees the punt go all the way out to the 47-yard line, but the important thing is it's the Abilene Cooper 47, and that one rolls out 28 yards. Won't look great in the stat page, Rick, but I tell you, this night watching it happen was a great punt.
Well, it's like the last one that Lenny did. You know, he kicked a beautiful punt. Anytime you can get that kind of yardage in this wind, that's great.
Well, Permian's done a great job tonight of not allowing the big play. That kind of hurt them last week against Lee. Facing a more formidable offense tonight, but the Abilene offense is having a tough time against a very spirited and up for the ball game Permian defense. Keaton looking for a lot on first down. He looks left. Man is covered. Here comes Keaton rolling right, looking for a block. He's out inside the 40 as Caltron Montgomery puts his man on the turf, and Keaton carries this one all the way down to the 38-yard line and looks to be about a yard short of a first. A great 9-yard run on first down.
You know, it's if you have time to watch, which not many do, but me, that's my job. Watching the exterior here. One of the assistant coaches there for Cooper, of course, when the referee was marking the spot, and you can see assistant coach looking across saying, well, it may be close. So he took the ball that was lost out of bounds, brings it back and sets it down about a yard short of where it actually ended up. He's saying, no, here's where it went. He's trying to get the referee to move over there, of course. Well, the referee didn't bite it. So
Keaton, 18 carries for 22 yards coming in, but all of you that were at Ratliff Stadium last week remember a very important run that Keaton, with the clock winding down in the game, had a super run down to the Midland League 1-yard line, and I tell you, that running ability has really come on the last 2 weeks when you're so intent on trying to stop Bass in the passing game, you leave one side open, and that quarterback with some quick feet can exploit it.
Yeah, that's what you do, not only on your pass for Bass. Oh, pass for Bass. I got to remember that one. You can use that as a fake because he can roll out and run, but it's the same thing that Cooper's doing with Rose by throwing the ball to Berg. They're tied in. It's the old, hey, if you're covering this guy, I got somebody else to throw it to.
Cooper 2 of 9 in the passing game for 20 yards. Permian 1 of 4 for 9. And that 9-yard completion was. They say he's down. The officials are saying no, the whistle blew. Watch the official point, say no, son, I blew the whistle. He's down. He's inside the 35, and you can hear the home faithful say no way.
Yeah, that's what. Let's watch. Here it is. Boom. See, his momentum has stopped, and the referee was right. His forward progress had stopped, and they try and do that generally when your forward progress is stopped, but it doesn't always happen that way. So I can say we ought to feel pretty lucky on that one.
Now Bass has come back out of the game. That means they've got the hefties in there. Both of the tight ends, Garrett and Waylon Waters, have come in. They're going to be running inside on this play as Permian wants to get the tough yardage. 5:46 is what the clock reads and counting as we're heading toward halftime. Here is Greg Pinkstaff on the carry. Look at Pinkstaff just barrel inside of the 30 and down to the 28-yard line.
There goes those swivel hips. You can just see him work that boy both ways. I mean, he threw a left hip, a right hip, and Cooper didn't know what to pick.
Give a hip here, give a hip there, there a hip, everywhere a hip.
No, he's good. I mean, and what they did was they just figured he was going to toss it back to Williams, you know. But the short man, Pinkstaff took it. But just before they centered the ball, Pinkstaff saw, oops, I'm up a little close. So he backed up 2 or 3 places. You know, he was just too close to take the pitch.
Can you guys see out this window?
Well, let's get a little foggy.
Kind of fogged up, isn't it? Down on the lower level, the sports writers were having a really tough time before the game. Pinkstaff again. Pinkstaff cuts it back inside, grabs a hold of the ball with both hands. There is a flag on the field across the way. Didn't see what the initial call is. Permian bitten by the penalty bug tonight. Matter of fact, has Cooper been called for a penalty? I think 1 time, right? Permian has 1 penalty for 5. Permian, this will be their 4th. And this will be a tough one because it'll be a 10-yard holding penalty. They say it's all the way down to the 23. The gain was 6. And would have left Permian a yard short. No, would have given Permian a first, but instead the hold will move them back. Let's see where they mark it from. You know, they're going to give him the gain to the 25-yard line, then mark it back 10. So it was a 4-yard gain by Pinkstaff. And a 10-yard mark off, and Permian now faces the second down again. Second down again from the 35. So 2nd and 10 facing the Permian Panthers. The clock ticking. 4:41 now. Bass one-on-one coverage. Here comes the pass. He's open. He has it. He breaks loose as he was hit by Ben Munoz. Broke loose of Munoz. And the connection of Keaton to Bass has enough of the Permian first down.
Well, that was beautiful. You could see it out of the corner of your eye. And here comes a replay. Bass is going down right now, and then he's curling in. When he curled in, that's when he hit him. And that was just a timing pass. That's all that was, because you could see Bass rushing down and then curling in at the last minute, and the ball was there.
Permian has the first down, and the clock at 4:32, and has stopped with the out-of-bounds play. Permian now with a 1st and 10 from the Abilene Cooper 19. They have a penetration, which could come into play tonight, and once again, Pinkstaff with the carry. Pinkstaff having he's having a pretty much a workman type night tonight. We're going to have Rick grab a hold of the statistics from all the Permian games leading up to this game. I want to find out what's the most number of carries he's had in one game. It hadn't been but maybe 5, but tonight they're dialing his number quite a bit. Matter of fact, that is Pinkstaff's 5th carry of the night for 22 yards.
Well, they're trying to throw him off. You know, they're trying to throw him off. Who's going to get it? Williams, Pinkstaff. Who's going to get it? You know, so they give it to Pinkstaff in a row. Now watch for Williams.
I tell you, you've got a tough one in John Williams, but I tell you, you got a kid in Greg Pinkstaff that won't give you a break either, because he'll just lower those shoulders and just pound you. Here's the pass completed, they say, to Bass. Bass has it down to the 11. Look at the Abilene Cooper faithful on the other side, just frustrated as heck, saying the ball hit the turf. But no, the official right there on top of it says it was down to the 11. And Permian, after the gain of 3, a very short gain, but gain nonetheless. Looks like it may have popped out. We'll have to say a 3rd and 2.
Yeah, but we'll look at the coaches. Oh, the coaches are going crazy from Abilene over here. I can tell you that. They're upset, but payback is the devil right now, and that's what's happening.
Now, Keith is saying that Permian may have had 12 men on the field, but somebody was able to sneak off before somebody detected them. Permian now with 3rd and officially just a little more than 1 for the first. Williams will have what he needs as he's down to the 9-yard line. But again, there is a hanky on the field. Somehow I'm getting tired of repeating that.
Well, that's kind of been, you know, we haven't had that many in games. Of course, we haven't had these kind of conditions either. Here's that holding again.
Now there's a second holding penalty against Permian on this drive. They were able to overcome the first one with the pass play to Sheldon Bass from Nick Keaton. And this 3rd and 1 will now become 3rd and what, 11? 3rd and 11 as they move it back out to the 20. In fact, it's going to be 3rd and right at 10 because they say that the hold came right where the sticks were marked. So Permian, to be on the safe side, needs to be inside of the Abilene Cooper 10 if they want to get a first. Keaton has his man, and Keltron Montgomery cannot hang on to it. Sheldon Bass upset because he thought the pass was intended for him. Montgomery, not knowing he's behind him, tried to make a dive for it and couldn't come up with a pigskin.
That's the problem. You got two right out there near each other. It's a little high for Keltron, but possibly a little low for Bass. And because Bass is standing up by himself, his man fell down. The defender against him, and Bass is standing there by himself. But it would have been a very tough catch for Bass.
Now this will be a 37-yard attempt for Eric Stevenson. Lucas Molina will set it down at the Abilene Cooper 27-yard line. The wind is behind Stevenson, and it's good! It sneaks over the crossbar, and Permian, with 2 field goals here in the first half, have pulled within a point.
That was
Watch this one. Watch the replay on this one. I'll tell you, somebody, okay, we didn't have a replay, but somebody was blowing behind like when you're golfing, you know, and you hit the ball and you want that ball to go into the hole. You blow it in there, and it barely made it over the crossbar for the field goal.
Well, that was kind of like a big gust came up, and, you know, he got a little bit under it, but, of course, you got to get it up. But the wind really helped it out, and it was beautiful. He did a great job, and he's still coming through. He's the leading scorer tonight.
Well, he is. He has 6 points. That drive started with 6:25 to play before half. Permian controlled the clock all the way down to the 2:33 mark. The 27-yard drive, that was a tough one because they had to overcome a couple of holding penalties, but they do come away with some points to pull within 1.
And that's the important part, Barry. We talked about anytime you've got that wind with you like they do now, you've got to take advantage of whatever points you can get. It's 7-6 now, folks. You know, it was 7-0 a minute ago. So they've done their job. We just we need to watch for the penalties, and of course, wouldn't it be great to get one of those TD things?
Be great to get a TO?
No, touchdown.
No, touchdown. All right,
yeah,
turnover. Could lead, okay, TO could lead to a TD. What we'd like to see is a kick deep into the end zone and force Abilene Cooper to start on the 20. Or if they elected to do what they did a moment ago, and that's touch the knee at the 7, that will also, you know, be something we wouldn't really mind. That drive by Permian, almost 4 minutes, and Stevenson really gets his foot into the ball as Rose catches it about 3 yards deep. And Abilene and Rose do the wise thing and put the knee to the turf. Permian, after falling behind 7-0 with 2:54 to play in the first quarter, able to come back with 2 field goals to pull within 1 with 2:33 to play before halftime. What do you think? What's your assessment here in the first half?
Well, conditions have just blown me away to start with. I don't know how they're keeping. How they've done as well as they have.
Great job by the Permian defense tonight. The offense doing what they must to get the ball down the field. They have not been in the end zone yet, but they are within a point. Here is Rose inside, and look at that offensive or the defensive line of Permian. You see Eric Williams there off the top of the pile, but you see Waylon Waters on the bottom, and Waylon Waters is the one that grabbed Rose by the ankle and brought him to the turf. Rose having some tough going tonight. He's done over 200 yards 3 of the last 4 weeks, but tonight, thus far, unofficially 10 for 41 here in the first half.
Well, you've got Eric Williams in there too, and he was a part of that, and that he's pretty quick. Can make a difference in maybe on this Rose. Yes, very much so.
I tell you, the strength will make a big difference with a big back. You've got to grab a hold, and you've got to hold on when you do. Allen looking to pass. He's looking for who Bass has a hold of. Bass comes up quickly. Look at the tag he makes on the receiver. That pass intended for, I think it was intended for David Anderson. Was that 14 Anderson? Or was it 44? Might have been John Hirsch. All right, pass intended for Hirsch, who hasn't caught a pass this year, and after that hit, may not even care about touching a ball the rest of the night.
Well, I think he went straight to the bench after that. You know,
boom! Hello, mama.
That's kind of shake hands and then pick him up off the floor. Great hit.
After a guy hits you like that and he picks you up, it's got to make you feel bad, you know, because what he did was knock the stuffing out of you just a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving.
Excedrin headache number 94.
All right, Abilene Cooper with 1:47 to play face a 3rd and 8. This is a pitch inside. Oh, my goodness, look at this. He breaks out across for the first down. This is Mike Rose. And a peel-back tackle by Waters saves what could have been a huge play for Abilene Cooper, even though they do get enough for what should be a first down.
Well, let's see the opportunities here that we had. Now, that is, again, this is a slick runner. We got one miss there changing, and you cannot react on this slick field. I mean, you cannot do the quick turns as far as the defense goes to react to the way that Rose is running.
Now, Permian does not want to give up the big play now with inside a minute and a half before halftime. The fake inside. Zach Allen rolling back. He has some pressure looking deep, and his receiver falls to the turf, as does the Permian defensive back, and the ball falls incomplete, second down. Well, Abilene has played almost a perfect penalty-free first half. Permian shooting himself in the foot time and time again.
Yeah, and Permian is definitely still in the game, you know. So what would happen if we hadn't done a couple of those? But, you know, what would happen if a lot of things don't happen? But that's a pretty good arm that Allen has thrown against the wind, because he threw that, about 20, 30 yards downfield.
I'll tell you, that was into the wind. He got the nose down so the wind couldn't play havoc with it, and it carried just a little bit further, but receiver not able to get out there on it. This is an inside handoff to Rose. Watch him just run through those tackles, but here comes a flag falling out. We talked about the error-free first half. Unless this is a face mask penalty, should be a hold against Abilene Cooper.
Well, you know, what happens sometimes is when you talk about it, it happens, you know, whether it's good or bad. And like you always say, well, he hasn't missed a game in 22 weeks, and well, he misses the next one. Waving it off.
They're going to wave it off. I guess it just jumped out of his pocket. Halloween Goblins a couple of days early. Got me out to the 44-yard line. Key said definitely he saw a hold. The official looked up and said, no, sir, Mr. Ragland did not. Out to the 44-yard line. This will be 3rd and 1 now for Abilene Cooper. 1 minute exactly. We have ticked inside of 1 minute to 59. Here is Rose again on the carry. Rose has it wide open on the left side. And up there to make the tackle, Keltron Montgomery, along with Aaron Washington and Adam Hamilton. Tito Brito up just in case he breaks free of those. But most important for Abilene Cooper, and to the detriment of the Permian defense inside the 40.
Some great blocking going on by that Abilene line up front. They've got the Permian defensive line down on the ground, and that's where they want them, of course. And you got a big line with this Abilene. As we talked about, 210, 200, 215, 200, 260, 250. That's a big offensive line.
Now the gain is 18 for Mike Rose. The clock at 39 to 38. Zach Allen, he wants it. He's rolling right. Has a man open. Pass is way overthrown and out of bounds. A pass intended for Ben Roselle, number 22, and double covered, and Allen did the wise thing and just let it go.
Well, yeah, he wanted to make sure that there was no interception, but if there was a chance, you know, that it could be there, make the catch and go on. And the other part that it does, if you throw it away and it's incomplete, the clock stops. And that's what he was interested in, too, with what, 35 seconds or so?
Well, now inside to 32. The clock is stopped with the incompletion. The kicking game of Abilene Cooper very stout. David Anderson has kicked 3 field goals this year. A 37-yarder against Carrollton Newman Smith, his longest. A 32-yarder against Brownwood, also a 22-yarder against Odessa High. Allen back. The pass, he has a man wide open, intercepted by Keltron Montgomery. Montgomery catches it to the 10. Here comes Permian. Back up the field, Montgomery out to the 30. Montgomery could take it all the way. He has Zach Allen to beat. He has him. And he's down to the 35-yard line before peeling back, I believe, was Kobe Johnson, number 34, to make the tackle. There is a penalty on the field back at the Permian 13-yard line.
That one you don't know. What I first thought that was, before I saw that it was a flag, was that was a marker that where the interception occurred.
You know, they ought to pick it up and wave it off.
But they are talking, so...
They said it's against Abilene Cooper, according to Sheldon Bash. You saw him emphatically waving. What's the matter, Rick?
I was trying to see how many seconds. 14.
14 to go.
As long as it took for that run back, I kept thinking, oh my gosh, here comes the pass. Watch the interception. Oh, right across. Missed a tackle right there. And now then the blocking starts right here. They start setting up the return. Look at the blocks happening.
Well, they say against Permian.
What?
What happened? What? Unsportsmanlike? Is this after the catch? It may be after the catch. We're going to have to check and see if the penalty was after.
Oh, that's a different one.
Okay, if it's after the interception, that means Permian retains possession, and then it goes back on a post-possession foul, basically.
That's another one.
There's a flag laying at the Permian 13. There's also a flag up at the Permian 25-yard line. Kind of a weird game tonight. A lot of weird, strange things happening. You know, ghosts and goblins.
Say what?
Abilene's been spooked by him tonight a few days early, I'm afraid.
Well, the coach is over there. Tam, I'm sure, is talking to him, is visiting with that referee. He's trying to find out what went on over there that caused that penalty. And it was a short answer, whatever it was, that the referee gave him. So now what it's to do is, okay, Permian, just let's run out the 14 seconds, go in.
The penalty was after the interception by Montgomery. The official said that as he was running down the field, he ran into a Permian coach, and that was the penalty.
Okay, well, that's true. They can't be on the field.
All right, Nick Keaton drops back, puts his knee to the turf. 10 seconds, and Abilene Cooper is called a timeout.
I guess they feel they're going to fumble down here or what? I don't know that
well. What they're hoping is that Permian, when they kill others, a flag on the field again. What is this?
Is that a flag for sure?
Yeah, let's check.
I can't tell if that's something on the field or...
May have been somebody's mask. No, it looks like just a white piece of paper.
But they sure are talking. There it is, illegal procedure.
I haven't seen this kind of flag flying against the Permian team in I don't know how long. But, you know, got to play the game. A lot of yellow stuff on the field. 7 penalties against the Permian Panthers tonight against a single one against Abilene Cooper. And the biggest one of the night, what appeared to be a hold, was instead picked up and put back in the pocket and was called inadvertent. After the penalty, there is 10 seconds to play before half, and Permian is at their own 4-yard line. Keaton is now down to his knees at the 3, and somebody needs to pick that piece of paper up off the field because it looks like a flag. Now we have come to the end of the first half. And, folks, it's been a wild and woolly one. As Abilene Cooper, after an early score of 7, led early in the game, early in the second quarter, 7-0. Permian came back to put a couple of field goals on the board. And at half, the Panthers trail it by a score of 7-6. Stay with us. We'll have a great production for you by the Permian Marching Band, who last week was given a Division I ranking in the competition out at Ratliff Stadium. Stay with us. The stay faithful that came from Odessa tonight. And congratulations again for their Division I rating last week at the band competition at Ratliff Stadium. Let's look at District 4-5A. We're going to look at the implications of wins and stuff right now. You'll see by this graphic we're showing Abilene Cooper on top, as you know, Permian second, Lee third, Odessa fourth. First thing that has to happen, Odessa must beat Abilene this weekend, and by the time you watch this replay, you'll know if that happened or not. Permian has to win one of the next 2 weeks to make the playoffs, either in the game we're watching now between Permian and Cooper, or next week at Ratliff against San Angelo. Okay, now we advance to next week. Here's who will determine who makes the playoffs. If Lee beats Cooper, then Odessa's out and Lee is in. If Cooper ties or beats Lee, then Lee is out and Odessa's in. And the key to that is, if Odessa's in the playoffs, they go Division I, Permian, Cooper Division II. If it's Lee in the playoffs instead of Odessa, then Permian goes Division I and Lee and Cooper go Division II. So that could have some serious implications as to how the playoff road takes place.
Well, you know, we have this problem so many times. No, I shouldn't say so many times. Most of the time, it's pretty well laid out who's going to be, and it's generally Permian. This is one of the few times in quite a few years. It's not that Abilene Cooper has been in this kind of position. All
right, now as far as District 3-5A, the next graphic we're going to put up shows you the current standings. This is going into play this weekend. and does not take into account what happened this weekend. You'll see Lubbock Monterey undefeated at 3-0. You'll see two 2-1 teams, Coronado and Amarillo, and the 1-2 teams. Now, the most important thing to look at the next line. Key games this week. Tascosa, 1-2, plays Coronado 2-1. Paladuro, Amarillo, Saturday afternoon. That's a 1-2 versus a 2-1. If the Paladuro and Tascosa squads win, going into the last week of district play, you could have 4 teams tied at 2-2. As far as enrollment, if Coronado makes the playoffs, they are the team with the highest enrollment in District 3-5A. Next in line would be Amarillo Tascosa, followed by Amarillo, followed by Monterey, followed by Paladuro. The top team, other than the Division 1 team, would play the Division 4-5A runner-up, probably either of these teams. The second team in District 3-5A would play the district champion from 4-5A, so they have a lot to still be dealing with next week, depending on what happens this weekend. This weekend could really shake out a lot of things in District 3-5A, but this will be who District 4-5A plays in Round 1, Division 1 and Division 2 playoffs.
It's a very conflagrated type of system.
What?
Conflagrated, that's a word that I'm sure it's in a dictionary somewhere. System that has so many teams that have possibilities that you really don't know what it's going to be or where you're going to go.
Now, we have a lot of full broadcasts possible. Prior to the third quarter of tonight's game, we're going to once again show you all of our sponsors that have made a grant to the Permian Booster Club that have allowed these broadcasts to take place each week. And following that list, we'll see you back on the field at back on the field at P.E. Shotwell Stadium, where Permian will take the kickoff of the second half and again be moving into the teeth of the wind. So the folks from Cooper are going to be playing that wind and playing to try to control the third quarter.
They're going to try and control it. They're going to try and score. That's when they scored, when they had the wind with them. And Permian scored when they had the wind with them. So Permian has chosen by making that choice that they just made in that flip to save the win for the fourth quarter.
Welcome back for the second half of tonight's game. And Rick, the second half will determine the District 4-5A champion, will determine who gets the district bell, will determine a whole lot of things, but most important, will determine the king of the hill in 4-5A this year.
It will that, and the choices we mentioned there at halftime when they made their choice on the crowd is after it today. The choice that Permian made was to have the wind in the fourth period. What their plan, I'm sure, is to definitely control Abilene Cooper this third period. Do not let them get any points, and then come back strong in that fourth period. Even with all that has happened in that first period, Permian is still in this game all the way.
We'll make one final comment about that. Permian, coming into the game, most penalties in the game, 6 for 65 against Midland. Already in the first half, unofficially 7 for 55. And statistically, pretty close here in the first half tonight as Permian, unofficially in the first half of play, 102 yards to Cooper's 114. 94 of Cooper's yardage was on the ground, and other than 2 carries by Mike Rose late in the first half, they pretty well controlled him. Rose broke loose for a 14 and a 17-yard run late. He is unofficially at 13 for 80. Williams at 14 for 47. And going to be a tough second half. You've got to control the field position, I've got to believe, Rick. And you also have to do something with that very brutal wind that's in your face here in the third quarter.
What can you do with the wind? And there's your problem. What you've got to do is to get the field position right now on offense. You've got to get, if you can't do anything more, boy, is that easy for me to say, but if you can't do anything more than to get the ball up around the 40 or 50-yard line before you have to punt, that's what you need to do.
All right, we'll look at the Permian offense that will take the field in just a moment. Sheldon Bass brings it out of the end zone, out to the 10 to the 15, and Sheldon Bass will be out at the Permian 15-yard line to start the second half. Here is the Permian offensive set as we go to the second half of play tonight. The offensive backfield, Keaton once again at quarterback, John Williams, the running back, the fullback actually, Greg Pinkstaff, 5 carries for 22 in the first half, will be the tailback. Montgomery and Bass, very important to the passing game for Permian. And the offensive linemen who tonight are going to be asked to do a great job here in the second half to move that Cougar defense back. Burmis, Couch, Kane, Jensen, Chance, and Garrett. Permian 1st and 10 into the teeth of the wind as we begin the third quarter of play at P.E. Shotwell. Barry Sykes with Rick Wood and Keith Ragland and our entire Trans Global production team. Here is Williams breaking out as Williams breaks across the 30 and out to the 31. It is a gain for John Williams of 16. Williams' longest gain in the first half unofficially was 9 yards. And already Williams with the tough yards out to the 31 in Permian has some much needed breathing room back in their end of the field.
That can set the stage for this period driving into the wind right there. If they can keep that rolling, that tight, keep making those first down, driving it on down the throat of Cougars, that'll break them.
It's a chilly one here in Abilene. The snow flurries ended about a half an hour to 45 minutes before the game, and we understand back in Odessa on this Friday night, the snow flurries were just horrible. The first run by Sheldon Bass this year. Look at Bass as he hurdles a Cooper Cougar at the 50-yard line. Let's check the field. No hankies on the field. And Sheldon Bass with the end around all the way down to the Abilene Cooper 43-yard line. A gain of 26 yards for Sheldon Bass, and his first carry of the year is a complete surprise to that Cooper defense, not to mention us.
Definitely to us, too, because there's that misdirection. You just figure Williams going to get the ball going one way and it comes Bass around the other. But the big part there was Eddie Chance when it was done. He threw his arm, I thought he was going to hurt himself there.
42 yards combined, the first 2 plays for the Permian offense. Williams slips, but look at the balance as Williams regains his footing and simply turns it back upfield and gets that 195-pound body going north and south up to actually down to the Abilene Cooper 37-yard line.
What he's done right there is do the same thing that Rose has been doing, because Rose, they always talk about him and the balance he has when he's hit. No matter if he's knocked one way or the other, he can regain that balance, and that's exactly what Williams did that time, except what he did was put his hand down to get that extra buoyancy and keep him up, and his legs still driving. The knee didn't get anywhere near the ground.
Williams showing the balance that you got to have on a night like this, because you're going to get hit early and get hit often. And you've got to be able to be resilient, I think, and bounce back and try to gain some yardage where otherwise you might just fall to the turf. Williams' lowest output of the year was 129 yards on 20 carries against Midland High. Unofficially 69 now on 16 carries. And I tell you, that's some tough yardage tonight against a very improved Abilene Cooper defense that was burned early in the year. It was tied by Keller 39-39, lost to Brownwood, but they've made some adjustments, and Permian coach is very impressed with what they've done in district this year, and they knew it was going to be quite a challenge to run against this big Cooper defensive squad. Keaton changing the play at the line. This is Pinkstaff. Pinkstaff had 8 carries for 40 yards against Odessa High, and now his 6th carry of the night, had 22 in the first half. And this one will be 5 as Permian methodically moving down the field.
That's what we said, Barry, as we talked just before this thing started. That's what Permian needed to do, is just drive it down their throat going against that wind. If they can get points going against this wind against them, that could turn this whole thing around.
Well, that one thing that Permian will have to contend with will be a short kickoff opportunity. But, of course, if you're kicking off, that means you're scoring a lot. And I'm sure that the Panther offense and coaches and players will certainly take that. Trying to pass into the wind, Keaton looks left, rolls right. He's going to run. He is into the secondary for Cooper and hit hard down to the 20-yard line. And Keaton should have enough for the first. It looked like number 20, Ben Munoz, able to come up and put a shoulder on it. But Keaton showing some really tough running ability the last couple of weeks.
Now watch when Keaton decides which way he's going to go. Watch the blocks. The blocks start picking up right there. That is what this Permian team, I am so impressed the way they react when Nick has to make the decision, guys, there's nobody to throw it to, I've got to run. His team completely turns around and says, come this way, Nick, we're blocking for you.
Keith is exactly right. He says Permian needs a touchdown. The gain of 12 by Keaton means Permian has a first down, and now John Williams with the penetration as Permian now moves down inside the 15. Permian, for the first time this year, trailing after 2 quarters of play. They trailed 7-6 most importantly, trailed 7-0, came back with 2 field goals, and Eric Stevenson in the kicking game really keeping Permian in it tonight.
I really hope, looking out on the field, I don't see that referee that was injured earlier in the game back yet. They're still operating, I think, with only 4 referees. I really hope he wasn't injured that bad.
Well, he was sitting up earlier, but as Rick mentioned, he has not returned. The injured player for Abilene a moment ago was a defensive back. It was Brad Hicks, who is considered their best defensive back of this Abilene Cooper defense. He is on the bench being treated for what appears to be a knee problem. But this carry by Williams will take him all the way down inside the 10-yard line, and another first as Williams has pounded the ball down to the Abilene Cooper 9. This drive looks like Permian football in the end of the league game last week.
You're right. What a drive this is. I mean, it is awesome. Hang on to the ball, guy, and go get him.
The 8th play of the drive, Williams up to 80 unofficial yards tonight. And I tell you, some of the toughest running I've seen this senior fullback make this season. They say a fumble. Let's look and see. The officials say that, yes, Williams did fumble, and Cooper comes away with the loose pigskin at the 2-yard line. What happened? Williams is livid. He says, "Ref, I didn't let it go. What happened?"
I think what he's mad about is he is upset because he said he was down. That's what he's upset about. He's still mad. He's still out on the field, picking up his helmet.
They're going to have to get him off the field in a hurry. You certainly don't want to let the Cooper offense out of this hole that Permian has stuck them in as they are down to the 2. But most importantly for Cooper's defense is the first Permian turnover of the night means the Panthers come away with nothing. After a drive that started from their 15 and carried down to the Abilene Cooper 2, an offensive lineman moves early. Here comes a flag, and they're going to mark it off half the distance back to the 1. Second penalty of the night against Abilene Cooper.
Great timing right now for that old safety. Wouldn't that be great? We'll take the 2.
Well, the 2 points would put Permian up. They are trailing 7-6 in this ball game, and that drive, I think, has given the offense of Permian a lot of confidence because they did the things necessary to get down the field. Running, you use a little razzle-dazzle, little inside move here, a little pink staff, little outside run with Sheldon Bass, but coughed it up there at the end on a questionable call, and now the defense has to come through for them.
They'll come through. They're pumped up right along with the offense.
Zach Allen with Mickey Anderson, number 74, back after an injury a couple of weeks ago. Look at Mike Rose come up and shake off the tackle attempt of Jensen, and quickly the cornerback, Bass, comes up and puts him to the turf, and I mean to the turf because he is slow getting up.
Very slow. I think he got hit. It looks like he's not exactly sure which way the huddle is at this time, but Bass really put a rap on him there, along with, of course, right with him was Jimmy Wharton.
Well, apparently the part of the scoreboard that shows down and distance is suddenly not working. The gain appears to be 1 as Cooper has moved out to their 2, and this is the part of the field where you really lose a lot of your offense because there's not a whole lot you can do other than just kind of stay basic. Here's the pressure. Permian can get the safety. Let's see if the flag comes loose. There is a flag, and the official says intentional grounding in the end zone, which will be a safety for the Permian defense.
What did I say? What did we need?
Hey, I like you. Wait a second. Let's see what the call is.
Good point.
Let's see if the official puts the clasped hands over his head. If he does, Permian has the 2 points, has the momentum, and will get the ball back after this free kick.
Here comes the big call.
Intentional grounding in the end zone by Zach Allen. The pressure, let's look at the replay, Bob Bailey, if we have it. I believe Jensen was the one that put the pressure on him, forced him to throw the ball just to get rid of it. And, of course, that's the wrong thing to do because that's a safety for the Permian defense. Well, look and see if 56 puts the pressure on him.
He's got him 88. He's got him really wrapped up right there.
Waters.
Really wrapped up, and he just wanted to get rid of the ball. Of course, the question was, did he have him in control? Was he down? Was he not going to get anywhere? And he definitely didn't. Oh, defense. What did I say? The defense felt the same feeling that the offense felt in that drive. It just carries over, guys, and now it's mojo time.
Well, Permian took the opening kickoff of the second half. They began on their 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They moved 9 plays down to the Abilene Cooper 2. A fumble recovered by Abilene gave the Cooper Cougars possession of the 2. Penalty moved him back to the 1, and some great pressure by Waylon Waters. He's the junior 200-pounder. Zach Allen didn't want to throw it, had to. Permian comes away with the 2 points. Now the free kick, and the offense gets a chance to go right back out.
Of course, it's going, Permian still is going to be,
Holy cow.
They're kicking with the wind from their 20. I understand that, but it's still going to be with the wind, so it's still going to be a pretty fair kick. Needless to say, though, the thing that happens is Permian gets that ball back, and if they can mount that drive one more time, let's put it away and talk about it.
David Anderson will be asked to boot this one away. That means they are going to placement kick it. Boy, that's a stupid thing to do.
Well,
they're going to place kick it from their 20-yard line. Keith is pounding his heart to say, 2 points, needed the 2 points. I'll tell you, a tough game tonight. Abilene Cooper, an up-and-coming team, going into the season, it was our feeling that Permian, Lee, and Cooper would be there at the end. All right, here is the free kick. And Bass up to the 35. He has an open field as he crawls. Look at this, up to the 44-yard line. And a whole bunch of Cooper Cougars go down to make the tackle. David Roush, number 27. You saw his number pop up along with, there's Roush. You can't even hardly see his number now, along with number 52, Ryan Robinson. But Permian, after the free kick, again, remember, they're moving into the wind. There is 7:30 left in the third quarter. The offense and defense doing what's necessary to move into the wind. They're going to get the wind of the fourth quarter, and this could be a very big drive for the Permian offense and the defense.
Right now is the time. Need to go again, mount that same kind of drive like they were doing. Just move it up, eat up the clock, and then get it in the fourth quarter with the win.
7:30 to play, and Permian, for the first time tonight, leads in this game by a score of 9-7. 8-7. Where did I get 9?
Well, there goes Williams into the middle, and, he had a double grip on that ball just in case whatever happened or whatever is going to be called, he's going to hold on to that ball. And they're stacking up the middle. They've got, again, we keep talking about the size of these guys. I talk about them every game that Permian comes up against. Permian's outweighed every game they come up against. That's all there is.
Now, this defensive line of Cooper, 180, 195. Paul Evans, the big hoss, 235, and he's a sophomore. In fact, they have 3 juniors starting on the defensive line. Williams pounding up to the 50. Williams will be close to a first. Permian needs to reach the Abilene Cooper 47. And this will be up from the Permian 46 up close to, they're going to mark him back. I tell you, it looked like to me he was close to the 47-yard line instead of the 49.
No, it looked, he was short some, depending on how much, whatever it is. A big play right here. And the question comes up, what if we're going to take it, we're going to make it on this play. Of course, I feel good about it. But if they didn't, I think it's a 4th down territory to go.
3rd and 1 for the Permian Panthers. The momentum is decidedly swung in Permian's favor. Williams trying to get wide, and it's going to be awful close. They may have to do as Rick Wood said. Well, no, they're not, Rick. It's number 14, Lenny. Jumps onto the field. Permian not electing to run up the middle, tries to hit the sideline and gains nothing on a 3rd and 1. And now Lenny will have to try to get a toe into it and leave it up to the defense again.
Well, I think that's why I'm not coaching by any means. That was a guess, and it's easy for me to do it. Nothing's on the line for me up here. But if Lenny can get another kick like he's had earlier, put him back deep and let's keep him there.
All right, Lenny, the senior who was hurt early last week against Midland Lee, has come back tough tonight. If he can get a roll on this one, he gets a Permian bounce. Look at this one. It's going to bounce inside the 20. In fact, Permian will down it at the Abilene Cooper 20, so with 5:22 to play, Permian has turned the tide a bit, even though Cooper came up with a big 3rd down play, and the 29-yard punt by Lenny has pinned Abilene Cooper back at the 20-yard line.
We'll take a 29-yarder any day of the week in this kind of situation with a wind blowing like that is. That 29, moving it back to the 20, it's just like it went in the end zone. Look at
this, put them back, way back. A lot of Permian faithful came out to the ball game tonight. I tell you, the roads are really icing up on the way down. We left at 2:30 and got here really before the bag of ugly stuff really hit. And if you came in late, well, you came into some very ugly messes here around the Abilene area. Zach Allen hitting his biggest pass play of the night. This is Kobe Johnson, I believe. No, the pass intended and caught by Ben Roselle, number 22. Roselle's first catch of the night, and Abilene Cooper on the biggest pass play of the night Moves all the way out to the 50. It was 1-1 against Aaron Washington, and Washington beat by Roselle down to the Permian 48.
He had that step, and that's all he needed, because that was a pretty pass. And again, he's working with that wind.
A 32-yard gain with the wind behind them by Abilene Cooper. Washington just a step behind, again, going for the full thing, and just out of the reach of the intended receiver. That was Kobe Johnson, number 34, and just a little bit long.
That was the same kind of play, and he had that step again on Aaron. It's just that one step, because if Allen can dump that ball just past Washington, all the receiver has to do is just kind of reach out and grab it, and that was close.
All right, the Permian defense, burned for a couple of big plays last week against Lee, has done a great job tonight of bending but not breaking. This is Mike Rose. Rose, look at this. Hit up there early by Patrick Cooney. And Cooney, along with Eric Williams and the rest of the mates, come up quickly to make the tackle on that 215-pound behemoth down to the 47-yard line.
That was kind of the cleanup crew, I think is what I'd call that, because here comes the first one to stop, and then the cleanup crew comes in and sweeps it up and just moves it on down.
Well, that was kind of like the Beatles with a little help from my friends. You hit him early, you yell help, and then a little help from my friends brings him up after just a gain of 1. It's third now. Abilene Cooper 9. They need to reach the Permian 38 if they want a first down. It is again going to be Zach Allen dropping to pass. Pressure being put on by Jensen. Quarterback has to run, and Jensen, along with Waters, push him out of bounds. No flag on the play. As the gain, matter of fact, they lost 2 back to the 49. And Abilene now will have the wind at their back to punt and possibly pin Permian deep, but a great play by the defense. Watch Jensen, and then late, Waters come across.
Okay, but now watch what they're being careful of. Oops, he's out of bounds, staying away from each other, trying to keep so far away from getting a penalty out there. They run into each other on the sidelines.
Okay, now watch this play. It's going to be fourth down for Abilene Cooper, and the quarterback, Zach Allen, will be under center. I'll take that back. He's back to the 45. It could be a quick kick, or if the receivers are not covered, he will throw it to him. Instead, he elects to kick it. There is Sheldon Bass, and Bass was hoping it'll get into the end zone, which it does. Now, that's a play the Permian coaches were very wary of this week, Rick. What they do is they line up, usually around midfield or into your end of the field. They send out 2 wide receivers each way. If you don't cover those receivers, he's going to throw to the open man. If you've got him, he'll quick kick it. That time he quick kicked it, hoped to draw it short or kick it out of bounds, but Permian luckily let it roll into the end zone back to the 20.
Not only luckily, there was a great block down there on one of the wide receivers just set up on the far side of the field going down to try and stop the ball. There was a great block thrown, and I did not get the young man's number to stop him from downing the ball and letting it roll on him.
Now, the only score of this quarter has been the Permian safety. Some pressure put on by Jensen led to an inadvertent pass attempt by the quarterback and the safety for Permian. And now Permian with a new set of downs with 4:16 to play in the third quarter. They begin at the 20. Flip it back to Pinkstaff. He's had a busy night. 7 carries for 32 tonight for the senior. And the gain is 5. Come on, clock, tick, tick, tick.
Pinkstaff that time, that extra effort, because he was clotheslined right on the neck by getting into that line. He got away from the clothesline tackle and gained that 5 yards. If you can pick up 5 yards on that first down, well, we can go with that.
3 minutes and 40 seconds and a very important drive for the Permian offense. Getting points, of course, is the goal. Secondary goal to hold on. And look at John Williams break it loose. John Williams' speed. It's going to be Williams against David Anderson. Anderson does not get him. And John Williams, let's check the field for flags. There are none. John Williams goes to 75 yards for the Permian score.
Are we happy about that run? And what did we say? Who was the one we were afraid of that was supposed to be the big guy in this whole setup?
Mike Rose.
Yeah, okay. Look what just happened. That's kind of a Williams in-your-face Rose.
John Williams' 7th.
Here it is.
Touchdown of 50 yards or more in his 3-year career, and the second longest run by one of the best backs in state. This one goes 75, topped only by an 85-yard TD effort against Alamogordo as a sophomore. I tell you, they've really been talking bad about this young man all week here in Abilene. Yeah. He's risen to the occasion, and I tell you, you keep pounding, you're going to break him loose, and look what happens.
Get that extra point.
Eric Stevenson.
Big
The
extra
hold of
point.
Lucas Molina. adds his 33rd consecutive extra point of the year, and Permian, because of the safety, now leads by a very important 8 points, 15-7.
You're right. They either have to, 2 scores, or they have to go for those extra point, the 2-point play to make it. And that safety made a big difference. And, of course, again, the way the Permian came out this second half, it's been like a whole new team out there. They had that drive. They had that want. It's just been a dominance here so far. And if they can keep that going against this Cooper team, with Cooper having the wind, and that's supposedly this evening, we keep talking about it, but that's been the advantage this evening.
The first drive of the second half, Permian went 85 yards from their 15, actually 83, all the way down to the 5, all the way down to the 2 before a fumble. Came right back after the fumble. That meant that Abilene Cooper started deep. They had a play in the end zone resulted in a Permian safety. Permian has certainly taken control of the second half, and Williams, after that 75-yard run, is now up to 23 carries for 169. And I tell you, that was a super run at the most important time of the year, I believe, for the Permian offense.
That you couldn't have pictured the whole thing any better than that. If you were writing a fairy tale, that's what would have ended. It's kind of, and they lived happily ever after. By no means is this thing over. Permian still has their work cut out for him.
Keith said he's watched him play 3 years, and that's the best run that kid has ever made. I am kind of inclined to agree with that. Into the teeth of the wind, the Permian kickoff will be returned by Abilene Cooper. Beyond the 25, matter of fact, out to the 28, Abilene Cooper will have 3 minutes and 16 seconds to work with the wind behind their back. Permian leads by 8, but Abilene Cooper is really good at scoring and then going for a 2-point conversion. So that's something that they're certainly used to doing this year, huh, Rick?
Well, they've tried it 10 times and completed the 2 points, made it good 7 out of the 10 times. And that's a pretty good percentage. So what Permian wants to do is not give them that opportunity. We've got Washington has to be on his toes over there, because that's what killed them or hurt them this last series.
Yeah, they dialed the senior quarterback's number the last time they had the ball. Look at the shovel pass by Zach Allen. He has that huge tight end, Bob Berg. And Berg, I tell you, it may not be pretty, it may be ugly, but I tell you, it's very effective, and there is a flag on the field. A flag on the field, but what a pretty play by the Cooper offense. Look at this, just absolutely perfect.
Wide open, too. Beautiful shovel pass.
All right, let's check it. Keith is saying illegal man downfield. If we can look at the replay one more time, Bob, do we have it? Let's look and see if an offensive lineman crossed the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage was the Abilene 27. Let's look and see where the offensive lineman was. All right, they're at the 27-yard line as they take it. Now, the offensive linemen are all the way down to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, you can see him out in the middle.
He almost could catch the pass where he was located.
Well, this is a big penalty. We talked about penalties hurting Permian in the first half. This penalty is really hurt this Cougar team this series.
You know, this means instead of being at the Permian 48-yard line after a shovel pass that carried from the Abilene 27 to the Permian 47, instead after the penalty, it'll move Abilene Cooper back to their 23-yard line.
But, Barry, what it shows is what Abilene can do. That's what they've got to watch for.
Now, one thing Randy Allen was stressing to his troops that we read in the paper today was that if something happens and you fall behind, we have the team that can turn it around and make it work. And so I'm sure he's preached to the kids, don't worry about the scoreboard, do what you do best. But the field maybe after being played on all night, maybe coming into play as Rose tried to cut back and just simply got tangled up and fell to the turf.
Well, I think the side's getting a little loose out there, and that's what he did. He went to the center of the line, saw an opening to the left, tried to cut to his left, and his feet just went out from under.
Rose, the leading ball carrier in district, he's had 3 consecutive runs of 1 yard or less. Had 2 big run plays as we came to the end of the first half. Here is the quarterback, Zach Allen, rolling out, and he finds number 5. That is Nathan Durham. Durham, the leading receiver for Abilene back 3 weeks ago, but was hurt against Odessa High. 20 catches for 345 coming in, and this is his first action in 3 weeks, and he was really geared up to play. This is a guy that was a tennis player as a sophomore, said he was too aggressive on the court, finally had to quit and go back to playing football because it didn't work on the tennis court.
Well, that time he found a seam about 5 yards in front of Keltron Montgomery, and he was wide open for that pass.
The play was good enough for the first down as Abilene Cooper now starts this series from the 38. Zach Allen, look at this. He finds Kobe Johnson as that little shovel pass. Permian is just having all kinds of trouble trying to guard the player coming across the middle of the field. It's not pretty. He doesn't throw it. He just simply just shovels it out there. And how do you stop it?
Well, it's very difficult, too, because you've got one person penetrating, and then you've got a man coming from behind and in, cutting in, and that was enough for another first down.
Now, this one goes all the way out from the 38-yard line to just beyond the 48, a gain officially of 10. I guess the only way you stop it, we're not coaches, it counts as a pass. The only way you stop it, I guess, is you make sure if that guy's crossing, you have a linebacker on him. But I tell you, Abilene Cooper has come up with a couple of plays that have really worked. A minute and 9 seconds to play here in the third quarter. Look at the pressure put on by number 85, Garrett. Quarterback Allen gets away and looks like he's almost out of bounds and simply throws the ball downfield, and pass intended for Jason King, who does not have a catch tonight, and it falls incomplete.
Zach Allen is quite a little athlete, this quarterback. He has a lot of control. He has a lot of control on himself, and he's executing real well right now. And that's what I said afterwards, that you've really got to watch this. 60% completion. Whoa, that is a awesome figure.
And coming into the game, Keaton, as you know, has thrown only one interception. That was last week. Zach Allen, with 155 passes, has only thrown 3. Some quick math tells you he only averages an interception about every 50 or so passes. That's going to be very important to your offense that your quarterback doesn't make those mistakes. 2nd and 10, and Cooper has called a play that the defense didn't exactly agree with him, so they have to call a timeout. So we have come to a timeout here in the ball game in the third quarter from Abilene's P.E. Shotwell Stadium. 1 minute and 2 seconds is what remains in the third quarter, as Abilene Cooper has the wind at their back, and Permian leads this one by a score of 15-7. I tell you, Rick, we're inside the press box at I wish we were at Radley.
Yeah.
In fact, we'd be on the roof at Radley, if I'm not sure. We're inside the press box here at P.E. Shotwell, and my little toes are frozen.
I got the same problem. They feel like blocks of ice. But I'd rather be up here than down on that field.
1 minute and 2 seconds to play in the third quarter. As Abilene Cooper comes to the line, they have the 20-mile-an-hour wind at their back, and I'm sure they want to keep it and use it wisely. Zach Allen simply falls to the turf. Oh, man, is he upset. Rick, nobody touched him.
No, he tried.
Nobody touched him.
He tried to stop. He tried to stop.
Oh, man, look at this.
Watch him put on the brakes. He's going to stop. Whoops.
Hello.
Nice tackle, Brown.
And I tell you, Bobby Brown makes the tackle for Permian back to the 38-yard line and 39-yard line officially. In high school ball, once you're down, you can't get back up. Pros, you can get back up and do something. But I'll tell you, that worst time that could happen for Abilene Cooper is a play like that. The loss is 9 yards, and Abilene now faces a third and close to 20. They have to reach the Permian 42-yard line for a first in the final 15 seconds of the quarter. Allen bottled up inside. He's looking frantically, and he does not have a man. As quickly Waylon Waters comes up, that is a coverage sack, Rick. He had nobody to throw the ball to. He had to hold it what seemed like forever and couldn't get away.
You can watch right now all of those defensive backs are
Look at this.
patting each other. He's looking, nowhere to go. He's still looking. No more time.
Now, we talked to one of the Permian coaches. We said, how do you stop that little cross in play? He said, you got to put pressure on the quarterback. If you don't do that, or if you put the pressure on him, he didn't have time to find the receiver. That was an excellent play by the defensive backfield and those pressure guys up front. All right, Abilene Cooper did call a timeout. They've used 2 now. The reason for that, we have a second to play in the third quarter. They want to kick with the wind at their back. Allen, negative 12 yards in the rushing department, and most of that on that 9-yard loss, and he came in with about 274 yards rushing, and a guy that you had to be really concerned about.
Definitely.
Running and throwing.
He's got the speed. He's got the ability.
All right, the final play of the third quarter is a nice punt fielded by Sheldon Bass, who falls down at the 21-yard line, but Permian will begin the fourth quarter of play with the wind at their back, indefinite control of this game from the 21-yard line. At the end of 3, Permian has the control of the scoreboard by a 15-7 count. Permian Panthers Panthers controlled the third quarter with a safety and a huge, absolutely beautiful 75-yard run by John Williams to take a 15-7 lead as we head into the fourth quarter, and the wind's going to be at our back.
Unfortunately, we've still got a quarter to play. No telling what can happen, the weather, the wind, whatever excuses or anything. The other side of that is that any score now can put it out of the reach of that touchdown and two-point play for Cooper.
Eric Stevenson with a 34-yard and a 37-yard field goal tonight. That was the first Permian scoring of the evening. Permian trailed at the half 7-6. The safety put them ahead in the big run by Williams. And now Permian has the wind at their back and dials the number of Greg Pinkstaff for what the 8th time tonight, equaling his highest carry percentage of the year, carry output of the year, and he has 40 yards rushing tonight. And I tell you, he's taking some pressure off Williams and Keaton when it had to happen.
What he's got to do is, and everybody hang on the ball. They're tackling the ball right now. They want the ball.
Now the gain for Permian, first gain was from the 21 out to the 29-yard line. It was a gain of 8 for Pinkstaff, and now John Williams has taken control of this ball game. Coming into the game, in fact, this gain is out to the 35, a gain of 6. Coming into the game, Abilene Cooper said that they had the best back in district to control the ball game because they said you cannot stop Mike Rose. Permian's defense has stopped him, but Cooper's defense is now having a tough time with John Williams. You agree?
Oh, I definitely agree. I'm sorry. Did you wake me up? No, I definitely agree. Like I said,
I got just a little bit of mix-up in the Permian backfield. This is a pitch back to Pinkstaff as the defense was waiting. Number 50 came up there to make the play. That is Paul Evans. And you see that maybe there was just a little bit of confusion back there as to what's going to happen. 84 came in there quickly, Chris Eck. And he caused all kinds of heck there in the backfield.
Chris shot right across. He got a good move that time. He had a quick move, as a matter of fact, for this 180-pounder, and was in the backfield as soon as the ball was handed off.
Rose has 83 yards rushing tonight. John Williams up over the 170-yard mark at 175. And now Marquista Ross leading the blocking along with Pinkstaff, and Williams again has the corner. He's going to go head-to-head with the defensive back. And I think David Henderson did the wise thing and kind of helped him out of bounds and got out of the way in a hurry.
Well, he took, it was kind of like a shock absorber. When he hit Williams, he kind of gave with the hit, knowing that he's out of bounds. Let's watch the replay. Again, the blocking is excellent out front. Williams, now he kicks in the afterburner right now. Here comes, whoops, let's go out of bounds. Okay.
Permian needs 6. They have to make it to the 45 for a first. Mike Rose had 240 last week against El Paso, or rather against Austin High. His worst game of the year, 111 the week before when he hardly played at all against Midland, but Permian's defense has just done one heck of a job against him tonight. Permian likes to stay conservative as Williams tries to hit to the middle, running between the tackles, and is only able to gather out across the 42-yard line, and Permian now will have to punt, but they have the wind at their back, and if Lenny can put a foot into it and maybe not get quite the roll that you want to try to down that thing inside the 15, the Permian defense can really play with that Cooper offense.
So that's the ideal, and the only way that Cooper was moving the ball when they had the wind was with the pass. You can't pass against this wind and be as efficient as they were the first time. Big kick right here for Lenny.
Abilene's going to try to, Cooper rather, is going to try to put some pressure on him. This one's just a little bit higher than Lenny wants, and it hits an Abilene Cooper player. There's a flag on the field, and the officials apparently are going to say that Permian did not give the receiver the opportunity to catch the ball, but the ball hit short. How can you do it if you don't see the ball hit?
Well, it's still, I think, your responsibility, since you're the kicking team, that whoever, if they have to run up 10 yards to catch it, you've got to give them the right to do that. But I sure thought it hit him.
Yeah, that's what they're going to call. Watch this. Watch it hit short. All right, what they did was they hit the man before he had the ball. You've got to give him 5 yards. That's a good call. All right, the punt by Lenny carried down to the Abilene 25-yard line. It was a punt of 30, but actually the 27-yard line, but after the penalty yardage, hoping to move Abilene Cooper back inside their 20. The penalty is going to start them at the 42-yard line, and that's just a little bit different. Abilene Cooper, 9:25 to play in the game. Permian leads this one 15-7. Inside run again to that huge bull of a back, Mike Rose. And from the 42, Rose will be out close to the 45-yard line. Rose had a couple of big carries tonight. Tail end of the first half of 14 and 17. In the second half, this 3-yard carry, this 2-yard carry is Rose's best. So Permian has made an adjustment and been able to keep him inside and bottle him up and bring him to the turf.
Hamilton and Garrett made the stop there. That's the team up. They hit him high and hit him low.
Zach Allen once again with Rose, and look at this. As number 72 for Permian, that's Jimmy Wharton, comes up to grab a hold, and he doesn't let go. How can you grab a guy that's 215 by the shoulder pads and bulldog him to the turf? I tell you, Wharton's got some muscle on those bones.
They want it, and that's what they're showing Rose is, I don't care how big you are, guys, come on, we can stop you, and they've done that. You still have got to watch this and keep it bottled up. They are now going to say, well, maybe there's no room up the middle, so watch for the pass or watch for one of those shovel passes.
Rose 5 carries for all of 3 yards in the second half. This is a passing down for Zach Allen. They have 9 yards to gain for a first, and he has his man wide open. Jason King is leveled by Tito Brito, but it's just a tad late as Jason King makes the catch down to the 44-yard line, make it the 46-yard line. The sticks a move, and Cooper's on the move.
They definitely are, and here's what is happening. He's hitting, and he's out to the top of the screen. He is now working his way back across the middle in between your deep receivers and your short coverage. And he hit that seam, and there was Allen, perfect and on target.
Now they're going to say the gain is 10. They mark it at the 47. They caught the seam between Brito and Washington and dial the number of Jason King, and King's catch puts Cooper in great field position. Zach Allen stumbles just a bit. Now he looks for the whole thing. He's got a man open. He has number 5 down there, Nathan Durham. And Durham wanting the ball to get there quicker than actually got there. And number, who is that? Is that again Washington down there defensively to make sure that he doesn't hang on to the ball.
That was almost, though, a little late because he was standing out there all by himself. And that was Tito Brito, the man that recovered. Here's the replay. Look at him back. See? He had to go back to him, though, because he was standing out. Tito was trying to make the decision. Do I need to come up and stop Zach's run and help there? Or do I stay back? And then he looks behind him. Here comes the pass, and the man is behind him. Good recovery, though.
Got to be a concern for the Permian coaches that suddenly the passing game of Cooper has found some lanes, and just a misconnection by the quarterback didn't allow it to be connected. Here again is Rose, and Rose is wrapped up by Jensen as he sidesteps the first initial attempt by Cooney, 38. But this game will be down to the 41-yard line, and it's going to be about 4 yards short of a first.
Big third down, as they all are right now. You've got to slow them down. You've got to stop the progress. I think, though, as far as Cooper goes, this is all fourth down territory. They got two territory.
Abilene Cooper is real good at the fourth down plays and excellent at the two-point conversions. They trailed by 8. Biggest play of the game to date, 3rd and 4 for Abilene Cooper at the Permian 41-yard line. Into the middle by Rose, and Wharton will grab him and wrap him up 3 yards short in Abilene. Let's see if they go for it, Rick, on 4th and 3.
It was Wharton and Garrett teamed up, and they dragged him down quick. I don't think there's any doubt. They've got to go for it. Watch them wrap him up. They're staying at home. They're doing their job. Wharton gets him first. There comes Garrett up to clean it up.
Now, the gain was 2, and the crowd, of course, is going to say, hey, we want to see you go for it. Abilene Cooper has not won a district championship in 13 seasons. Last time they did it was because they defeated the Permian Panthers here in Abilene on a night that Terry Orr, now with the Washington Redskins, went absolutely wild against the Permian defense. Zach Allen rolling out for the first. He will not get it. As Travis Jensen, number 56, is able to grab a hold of him by the shoulder pads. And once again, that Permian defense comes up with a super play. How about 5?
The cream rises to the top. One more time, I say, what a beautiful play. Watch Jensen. One hand, hang on. That's what the coaches are saying, as we've been saying all night. When you get a hold of something, hang on, because there's going to be help, and the cavalry is coming. He did it. Travis saved a big play. Now it's going to turn. drive it on down, take up the clock, come on, Permian, just hang on to the ball, because I guarantee you, Cougars are going to be tackling the ball.
Thought you were going to make that rhyme there for a second. The loss was 3 on the Jensen sack of the quarterback, Zach Allen. Allen tried to get to the corner, but Jensen, the defensive end, was able to get there first. Here is Greg Pinkstaff, and Pinkstaff running tough. Boy, I tell you, just arms and legs flying everywhere and crosses the 45 to the 46.
He can do that. I mean, he can throw the fakes with an elbow, with a wrist, with a knee, with an ankle bone. I mean, this young man is really doing the job tonight, also taking up this is his night, I think, as far as anything goes, because he's the one that's keeping that ball on the ground and moving it and keeping the clock moving.
Mike Rose with 92 yards rushing tonight, and Pinkstaff, I tell you, doing a great job for Permian. 43 yards rushing on 10 carries. That's a 4.3 per carry average. And I tell you, he's done a great job of taking some pressure off of John Williams. Pinkstaff again on the tailback pitch play up near midfield, and Permian will come up about 2 yards short of a first. Now, a moment ago, they had a 3rd and 1 from near midfield, trying to get wide. Think they're going to try the middle this time?
I think we got to go up the middle, and I think it's, the power running. You've got, again, the Hoss in the backfield, as we talked about before. We need those 2 yards. We need this first down. We need this right here, because that clock is down to 4 something, I think.
Well, it's ticked down now inside of 5. 4 minutes and 59 seconds remain in this ball game that Permian leads 15-7. John Williams again trying to get to the corner. He's going to have enough. It looked like he was going to be stopped short, Rick, back beyond the 50 as Williams again intent to get to the outside. He knows if he can get the corner, he can go a long ways, but he does what he has to do to get the first down.
Here he comes. Now watch, though. It's awful close right there. Boom. He had a hold of him, and this is Anderson, the same young man that missed him on that long run, too.
Also, number 11, Berg. Berg was the one that tried to get him back deep in the backfield.
Yeah, he missed him the first time.
All right, the clock is now in Permian's favor as they get a new start from the Abilene 48-yard line. The clock reads 4 minutes and 25 seconds, and the Permian offense controlling the game today. Williams trying inside, gets a tough yard up down to the 44-yard line. I'll tell you, the adjustments that the Permian...
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute.
Late flag. It's a reaction. Something happened.
Well, the official pointed back toward Permian.
Yeah, it is going to be against Permian. Personal foul.
Personal foul against the Permian Panthers.
It happened right when the play was stopped. I don't know if we have that one on replay or not, but you can see it when the play stops. Then the referee is walking up towards where the play ended. Let's watch the replay and see if you see anything happen. It happens at the end of the play somewhere. I don't know if it's a late hit or whatever that the referee sees. Okay, now watch. Right here. Oh. Well, who did it? Oh, it may have been downfield, as you can barely see on the edge.
Well, the penalty yardage means that Permian will be backed up to their 40-yard line. It'll be a second down play now for the Permian offense. Is that correct? Let's double check it. It'll be second down. Scoreboard says 1st and 22, and the coaches next door are saying, hurry with the play, guys. Don't let the clock run down. Only 12 seconds on the play clock. Second down on the sideline, first on the scoreboard. Sheldon Bass has 2 catches for 25 tonight, and Keltron Montgomery makes his first catch of the game, and this is a big one all the way down inside the 50 to the 49, and Permian will be about, looks to be about 11 yards short of a first.
I would imagine, of course, the first down is most important. They've got about 11, 12 yards to go to get it. If they don't, they're going to want to punt that ball and at least keep the Cougars deep in their own territory for the last minute drive.
You got to hope you kick the coffin corner and put it down inside the 10 to play in the ball game, and the clock is stopped after the catch by Keltron Montgomery and the force out of bounds by an alert Cooper defender. Permian now facing a 3rd and 11. On the scoreboard, they say 2nd and 11. He has Cody Kidd wide open, and J.C. Kidd down to the 15-yard line, sees the ball thrown just a bit too far, and is not able to come up with a catch for Permian.
One of the problems there the kid had was you could see his feet start slipping. As he started to try and pick up speed downfield to get under that ball, he's down in that part of the field where you see all the snow and the ice. See, he tries to kick in a little extra speed, and he can't dig in there because Ben Munoz is right there, but he just can't quite dig in to that slick ground.
All right, the Permian offense started from the 42-yard line. They moved all the way down, in fact, inside the 40 of Abilene Cooper. before the penalty yardage moved them back, and now the Panthers will have to punt. 3 minutes and 42 seconds to play, and here comes the flag because they say the clock had wound down. I tell you, that official was quick with that one.
Well, it took quite a while. There was a little mix-up there in the line as to who should be in and where should they be. We've got to keep the mind on things here. Everybody's excited. They see that clock moving down, and they want this thing over.
Last week against Midland Lee, Permian had one last chance with 4 minutes and some odd seconds to play, was able to drive the length of the field, and now it's going to be up to the Permian defense to see that Abilene Cooper does not repeat that feat. 3:42 is what we have remaining in this game, and Permian has the 8-point, 15-7 lead. Lenny hits it high, hopes to get a bounce. The ball bounces at the 25, and look at the roll as it's down to the 21-yard line, and there Benji Garcia, number 59, will pick it up. And Abilene Cooper and their offense that coming into the game was one of the top in state, averaging 450 yards, has been held in check by Permian's defense tonight. And the 34-yard Lenny punt means that Cooper is now 79 yards away from a tie score.
What you have right now, I think, is probably Cooper's last chance at scoring.
Well, it's kind of like the last stand at Little Bighorn, I believe, because this is it. This is going to be the opportunity. Panthers defense rotating as Adam Hamilton has come up to bump the receiver. Here's the screen inside, the screen pass that has hurt the Panthers all night. And this is going to carry out across the 20. The pass completed to, that was completed to, it looked like Jason King, 28. I tell you, that's been a play that has worked beautifully tonight for this Abilene Cooper offense.
It's that cross the middle play, and see, he's coming back across it again. That has been working all night, whether it's to the tight end, whether it's to a back coming across and out, the shovel pass, and now this one, that's been their bread and butter.
Check the clock, 3 minutes and 11 seconds. We're ticking down close to 3 minutes left in this game. 69 yards away as the Abilene Cooper offense and the Permian defense digs in. Cooper has used 2 of their 3 timeouts. They have 1 remaining. The fake inside and the pass back across the field to Rose. Rose, one-on-one against the defensive back Bass, and Bass hits him low. But the game will be out to the 39-yard line, a gain of 8, and it'll be 2nd and 2 now for the offense.
But they're eating up a lot of yardage real quick. They're not taking a whole lot of time to do that. Watch almost knocking that pass down in between. Let's see if we can get that number. There he is. 56 is Travis. He almost gets it down, but not quite there. Still gets to Rose.
We are at 2:29 and counting. Abilene Cooper with a 2nd and 2 from their own 39-yard line. Look for just a simple play. Out rolling to the right is Zach Allen. Allen looking for King. And this one looks like it hit the dirt, and the official quickly says no, not complete. 3rd down and 2 for Abilene Cooper, and the clock stops at 2:17.
He skipped it in.
A long ways away, and if you're a defensive back, you don't want to let somebody get behind you.
That's what happened, you know, as we saw Tito do his recovery act back there, trying to get back, and did a great job to get back there and mess that pass up in the last series of downs. But you got to watch that. And this is what Allen brings to the game. Allen can run it because of his speed. He's got quickness, or he can throw it.
Now the Abilene Cooper offense unofficially has generated well under their 425 yards of offense, 430 yards of offense, as Permian has held them to 181. But these next few plays are going to be the difference in the ballgame. Mike Rose has enough for the first, it looks like. If he's got it, it's not by much. He had to reach the Cooper 41, and he fell to his backside right at that point, and the official says, yes, he got enough. First down, 2:09 to play. Abilene Cooper's offenses, they're taking their time, but they are moving somewhat methodically down the field.
Well, they definitely are. I mean, we haven't been able to stop them yet. They keep getting those first downs. We got to have that big play here.
Now the Panther defense has just played one heck of a game, and look at the interception. The interception by Sheldon Bass as the quarterback, Zach Allen, threw it behind the receiver, and Bass, as he cut in with the receiver, picks off his 7th and league-leading interception of the year. Look, just a bad pass by the quarterback. Led the receiver too much, and Bass goes, hey, an early Christmas.
What did I say? We needed the big play. There was the big play. It always happens that the Permian defense makes the big play. He led that man a little bit too much, and who was sitting there waiting on the coverage? Bass. Bass takes it, goes down for the sure catch. Now then, Permian needs to run, what, 1 minute out?
1:53. Cooper can only stop the clock once. This has been a second half belonging entirely to the Permian defense. The Permian offense able to generate a 75-yard run for the score that really iced the game, but the defense came up with a safety. But you look at what Permian's done, Rick, as they complete the pass to Bass. They drove down the field with a second half kickoff, fumbled at the one, came back, and time again, they've been pounding that Cooper defense, pounding them unmercifully. They found some holes in there at halftime and have been able to exploit them to their advantage.
You can see the crowd right now is already moving out. They said, oops, this thing's over. Let's go to the house. It's too cold to be out here.
Yeah.
That's giving up a little quick. He can still fumble that ball out there, and that's what they're trying to make us do.
Now, Abilene Cooper held under 200 yards, or actually just a little bit more than 200 yards of offense tonight, as this defense of Permian has just done one super job. Here is Pinkstaff on the carry. It'll be a first as the chains will move down to the 38-yard line. Abilene Cooper's worst total offense output was 370 yards against Odessa High. That's the worst. They have just barely over 200 tonight.
What we've really got to give credit to, I think, is also, I know you do, as to what this offensive line is doing for this Permian team. And that's Burmis and Kane and Chance and Jensen and Couch and Garrett. And, you know, all these young men are up there really making some moves and opening up some holes.
The Panthers looking to extend the streak against Abilene Cooper to 14 consecutive wins. And we're going to tell you as far as...
That was a nice run by Pinkstaff as he found a big open hole over that left side, followed his blocking well, but what we've got on the field right now is a flag, so we'll have to wait and see. It looks like Bass is walking up the line saying it's against them, and it's not against us. Yeah, that's what I was waiting on, is that call right there, and that's an offside call because this left end, who is, let's see, that would be Chris Heck, has been lining up off sides for the last 2 or 3 plays, as best I could see from our angle. And they finally caught him on that. So they're going to take it. What is it now? He got about second and about 1 to go for the first.
Well, the Panthers inside the 30, 32 seconds to play. This will be Permian's 21st district championship, a night on which John Williams rushed for 188, Pinkstaff for 62. Passing game only able to generate 45, but most important, the Panthers able to put 15 on the board against a very tough Abilene Cooper defense. 21 district championships for a school that didn't open until 1959, and this will be the 22nd time that Permian has appeared in the state Class 4A or Class 5A playoffs. I'll tell you, Rick, this is probably the best game we've seen by a Permian defense in a long, long time.
It definitely is. The thing that scares me to death is, you talk about guts, they're still passing that ball clean across the field.
That's it. The clock is wound down to 0, and the Permian Panthers have dealt a sour loss to the chin of the Abilene Cooper Cougars. Our final score, Permian 15, Abilene Cooper 7. They overcame a very sloppy first half. A lot of penalties kind of kept them out of sync, but they came back. They fought hard, got the one big run there in the second half, and the defense made it hold up and really put the stops on that Cooper offense in the second half.
But, Bear, what does that tell you about the team? It tells you that they are good. They have it. They can keep coming back, and if you want them, stay out on the field with them because you're going to get it. They're there to stay.
Permian is in the playoffs. They will play somebody from District 3-5A the next couple of weeks. We'll let you know what exactly happens. Next week, Ratliff Stadium will be the site for Permian and San Angelo Central as we wrap up the regular season. Permian keeps the district bell one more year and wraps up a district championship with tonight's 15-7 victory here at P.E. Shotwell Stadium. Once again, I'd like to thank Bob Bailey and the staff tonight, Debbie Bailey for all of the replay work, also Perry Berryhill and Cliff Feggett for the camera work. I'll tell you, a great job by those guys, and Bob Bailey directing. So once again, for Rick Wood, for Keith Ragland, Barry Sykes, we've had a great time tonight in the cold and wet Abilene, but we'll see you next week from Ratliff Stadium.